Hi everyone, and welcome to RollBound 2. I am your DM, Chas, and I'm going to go down the list and have everyone introduce themselves, starting with Groove.
Good tidings. I am Groove, and I am bound to the role of Jonathan Oneros Phage.
Alrighty, Allie.
Hello, I'm Ali, and I am bound to the role of Prince Xander.
Alright, Minnow.
Hello, I am Minnow, and I am bound to the role of Vivian Deshays.
Alright, Joey.
My name is Joey, and I'm bound to the role of Jay Elwood. Forgot his last name for a second.
Alright, Dakota.
Hello everyone, my name is Dakota, and I am bound to the role of Lysel.
And last but never least, Mickey.
Hi, I'm Mickey, and I am bound to the role of Emiko.
Okay. So where we last left off, you had just gotten dropped off in the little town of Mapleview, and the Knights of Pelor had basically escorted you here, and were taking the more, I guess, injured and other captives in that situation back to the city proper, which is several miles away. And, while we're not using it yet, I'll still do this for those who might need it. And where we left off was just as you were taken into the city. It's a tiny little place. There are several houses, including one, you guys were literally dropped off right up here. And, it's a tiny little place with, not even paved roads or walkways. It's all just dirt that's been flattened and dug out. There are a lot of fruit trees here that kind of are surrounding and also laid out in an organized fashion. This seems to be a little fruit gathering community. And the sun is starting to set, so all of the people outside are coming in from their long work days. Some of them are retreating down one particular road, while the few that actually get to have houses go into their homes. Where you all did, right before the session ended last, manage to find a small tavern that has, it doesn't look the same on one part of it. One of its towers has like a purplish roof, and the bricks seem newer, while the other side has like a faded green, and its bricks are older and covered in moss. It looks like every time they make repairs to this tavern, they don't have enough resources to repair all of it, just the parts that they needed to fix. So it kind of looks stitched together. There's a little bit of smoke coming out of a chimney, but you know, all the same, it does look very comfortable, and you see a worn-out sign where you can tell they've painted over it multiple times, called Gatherer's Corner, Bed and Beer. And I believe you all decided that anything else you would like do a little more exploring tomorrow, you just wanted to go into the tavern, am I correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a little bit accurate. Is it the building that's like right in front of us, the tavern?
It's this one in the corner over here. I have them labeled, but
Okay.
I know it's probably hard to read over stream.
I'm actually on tabletop right now.
Oh, sweet. I made it yeah. I have them labeled. I know, like, technically some of them would be labeled, in the city as they have little signs. But if you make your way into the tavern, on the inside it is very cozy. It keeps the winter's cold air away. There isn't any snow on the ground, as Farwood doesn't usually get a lot of snow, but it's pretty early on in the winter, so they won't be expecting it for some time. But it's very warm on the inside. There's soft violin music that's kind of playing throughout the entire building. There is a little halfling sitting on a stool on what you could call a stage. It's not really a stage. It's like some old wooden banisters that have been lined up on the ground, tied together with rope and maybe nailed together a little bit, that they've created into a platform to use as a stage. And he has a little stool set up there, and he's playing the violin, and there are people calming down from their long work days. There is chatter filling the entire room, and on the far left side there is a bar that is not full yet. Very, very long bar. It's maybe about like 10 feet long, with stools lined up and there are a few bartenders on the other side catering to their the sudden like rush, quote unquote, of guests. When you all walk in, there is a excuse me. There is a elven-looking woman. She has like fair skin with a bunch of freckles on her face and on her shoulders, which her outfit kind of reveals her shoulders, and long braided hair that she has pulled over to one side. And she, when you walk in, she like waves and goes, "Hello there. Sit wherever you like. We're just getting dinner started."
You said there's like an actual like legit bar, yeah?
Yeah, that would be what the woman who greeted you is standing behind.
Okay, Xander's gonna go sit at the bar.
Both the bartenders on the other side kind of like look at you curiously for a moment, considering that you can tell that basically anyone who comes into this bar is someone they know. So the second bartender, who is a Hjord gentleman, which again for reference is human, he and the elven woman like look between each other for a second, and she like taps him on the shoulder like, "I got this," and she waltzes over and just goes, "Hello there. Never seen you before."
Indeed you haven't. It's a pleasure.
Well, welcome to Gatherer's Corner.
Oh yes, indeed, I feel quite welcome. Could I get a bit of whiskey? A long adventuring day makes for a dry throat, as I'm sure you're aware.
Oh, so you're adventurers. We don't get many of those through here. Typically
If you couldn't tell by my glistening complexion, yes.
She like stops for a second and goes, "Right," and then she dips under the bar and sets a glass on the counter and pours you some whiskey, and she sees everyone else who either hasn't sat down or is like still huddled up by the door, and she like waves to her arm and goes, "Come on now, sit, get yourselves comfortable."
Sure, yeah, we
with
do
the
that.
encouragement, Lysol's gonna walk over to where Xander is sitting and kind of nervously sit beside him.
What brings you all into Mapleview? Usually we're skipped over.
To be quite honest, it was a situation of any port in a storm will do. Let's just say we've had a rough go over the past few days, and yours was the closest bit of civilization we've managed to find.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, Mapleview is a comfy little spot. We have plenty of beds, plenty of drink, plenty of food, lots of fruit if you're interested. And hopefully you enjoy your stay while you're here. Can I get any of the rest of you something to drink?
Terrific,
Just some juice would
wonderful
be
audience.
fine.
She like looks a little overwhelmed and just says, "All of you spoke at the same time. You," and she'll like point to Jay and go, "What did you say?"
I think I was just commenting on the resounding silence from the rest of my party members.
Oh, well, can we get anything for you?
No.
Oh. She like her ears kind of like twitch, and she gestures to Johnny and says, "And what about you, sir?"
My first gross. I'll have ale.
Ale? Okay.
That's not gonna help with your thirst. Get my man a bottle of water.
She like chuckles a little, and she does get both a pitcher of ale, pouring you, getting like a stein out and pouring you a glass, and then also getting you like a tiny glass of water and pushing them both towards you. And
Is that both at once?
I'll leave it up to interpretation.
Yeah, I only heard one, so I'm gonna say you just mixed them together. Yeah, standing next to the rest of the group, there is a hat that is peering over the side of the bar, but the rest of Vivian cannot be seen over it. And She currently has an relatively new-looking new notebook pulled out in front of her. As she is flipping through pages, she is, however, staring straight ahead, and it is the weasel on her shoulder, Gale, that is currently scanning the pages. And then Vivian stops, and she points at something that is written there and says, "What is the strongest type of mixed drink you have? Preferably one that is named after a great hero or epic event."
The bartender, she like blinks twice and kind of rubs the back of her head, and she says, "We do have many mixed drinks." And a gentleman sitting at the bar overhears this from the other, and he goes, "Aye, Misty, go the one that's named after Derek." And she's like, "But Derek isn't a hero." And he goes, "Might as well be."
Does this Derek have a drink named after him in other bars, or is this the only one?
This would be the only one.
She ponders for a second. The corner of her lip kind of twists upward like she is thinking. She taps her chin and reaches into her pocket and pulls out a little piece of charcoal and scribbles out something in the notebook and says, "I'll have one of those."
Right, and she goes down, and you see her take out a little fruit that kind of looks like an orange with two little nubs in the top of it. And she cuts it open and uses like a squeezer to very quickly juice it into the bottom of this cup. And then she takes out like two different types of syrup and a bottle and pours it in. She mixes the drink, and even after mixing it, there's still this little layer of orange at the bottom. And she hands it over to you and says, not only is it strong in alcohol content, but it's also very sweet."
Great. She looks over at the drunk guy that was just saying something, say, "You there? It was Mr.
"Oh, me? My name's my name's Virgil."
Mr. Virgil." She hands him the drink.
"Oh, thank you."
Yep. She reaches down and crosses out something else in her notebook and then says, "I'll have a juice."
Yeah, the guy, like, chugs it and starts to, like, cackle, and his friends start, like, slamming on the bar, like, "Drink, drink, 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 drink!" And, she goes, "Oh, would you like, grizzly juice or icy dragon fruit juice?"
She looks down at her notebook, flips through a couple more pages, and says, "What do you recommend?"
This bartender's ears droop more as she is very confused, and she goes, well, between the two, the icy dragon fruit one is my favorite."
All right, I'll take that one then. And she doesn't cross this one out, but she does put a check mark next to it, and then closes the book and puts it away.
Yeah.
Xander just fascinated watching this whole spectacle, and then looks back to the guy Virgil, says, "So, it sounds like this Derek has an interesting story. I'll buy it off you for a copper."
Oh, no need for that. Derek was my brother. And he saved this town about 10 years ago from a T-Rex. Fought it by his damn self.
Oh shit. Sounds like quite the impressive feat.
Fought it with his bare hands. And that's what they called him. Bare hands.
Can I take an insight check on this?
Yeah.
Very inventive.
Is this guy fucking with me?
Go for it.
What an interesting and unique name for an interesting and unique hero.
I got a 7.
You can't tell if he's lying to you and very drunk, or if he's telling the truth and is very drunk.
I think this manifests as like, Xander's like, is this guy fucking with me? And then, like, midway through that thought, he's like, I don't really care. He's gonna down the whiskey and, like, shake his head. And, like, Lysel, who's sitting right next to him, kind of gets the impression that he didn't really want the whiskey, he just needed something to fucking wake him up after the travel. He says, whew, well, that'll put some hair on your chest. Not mine, though. My chest can't grow hair. Now that that's done... Just
Why the hell not?
Why the hell not?
Because it's made of crystal.
I need you to show me your chest.
Xander gets this impish expression and says, well, normally I don't do that for free, but if you insist. He's going to, like, unbutton his jacket and kind of, like, unbutton the vest.
The barmaid walks away.
Pulls
No, walk back, come back. You need to see this. This could be the most glorious thing you've seen all day.
No. She's like hiding like part of her face in the menu. I really, you know what? Never mind. No, thank
We
you.
might
You
have
can take
ourselves
care
a
of it.
genuine rock man sitting right here at this table inside of your bar. You need to see this.
Like she like shoves the thing she's carrying into the other barkeep's chest, and he goes, oh, ow. And she like shoves him forward and goes to help with the guest, and he walks forward and he goes,
Sir, have you ever seen a man made out of crystal before?
No.
Do you want to?
I guess I would really prefer if you didn't undress at the bar.
Show this motherfucker your chest made out of crystal.
Yep. Xander's gonna show everyone the goods.
Oh, brilliant, gorgeous, look at that. Oh, look at it, it reflects off the armor, gorgeous.
One interesting thing to note, by the way, as you see Xander's chest, there's a part of it about where his heart should be, that it looks like a lot of the crystal has been heavily damaged and cracked, almost as if he sustained an incredibly heavy impact to that area, and the Kunsky pattern that, like, seems to kind of keep his body almost like stitched together, is very prevalent there, to the point where that whole area where his heart should be just looks like shattered glass held together by gold.
Does it look like that fracture, whatever that is causing any sort of like actual damage, or like is causing any like longing impact that could be possibly done away with?
Make a medicine check.
Oh fuck. Wait, I'm good at that. Nah, it's a 9.
Based on what you can tell in prior experience, it seems to be very old scar tissue, or at least Xander's equivalent of it. You know, obviously his body looks very different than anybody who's more, closer to being Hjor. That's kind of the impression that you get.
Yeah.
Okay.
And real quick, anyone who wants to, make me a perception check.
Sure.
I'll take that.
It's a 2 because I'm too enamored by the fact that there is a dude who's got diamonds coming out of his fucking chest in front of me.
Say, when you announce perception checks, would you please say if they are hearing or sight-based?
Hearing based.
That's an 18 for me.
That's better.
I feel like I should have advantage on hearing-based perception checks because my ears are larger than the rest of me.
Because your ears are fucking satellite discs.
Dakota, what was that?
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from, Dakota. If I hear like dog whistles, she just like will start kicking at the floor and freaking out, and no one knows why.
I was actually thinking more of like a sonar.
Yeah.
19, 15, 18. So
The loudest beep.
as things in the bar start to quiet down as much as they can for being a bar, and after the display of Xander showing off his chest to Jay, who is still, like, wildly interested in all of this, Vivian...
Like I always say, the most glorious thing is a gem that can withstand a bit of weathering.
And Vivian, Lysel, and Xander, you all actually start to hear... there's like a table not that far behind the bar you're sitting at, and there's a group of workers all kind of sitting at it, and you hear them start talking about you, which is what piques your interest in the first place. And you hear one of them say, "So, there's adventurers in our town, eh?" And the other one goes, "They'll just pass through. They won't pay us any mind." And the other one goes, No, don't think about this. You think they could figure out what happened to Hearse? Nobody's gonna figure out what happened to Hearse if he makes it through the week.
Vivian sits at the table with them before they finish that last sentence.
Yep, Xander's right there with her, having fixed his shirt while they were talking.
Yeah.
And then there's just like a little disturbance as all of a sudden she just sits there. And her head is barely peeking above the table and she's sitting there, but does in fact see. And she says, "Who is Hearse?"
Like, one of them jumps, like the obviously younger one. He goes, "Ah!" And the other one goes, "Oh, you got good ears on you."
He doesn't dignify that with a response.
And, he, like, realizes, he goes, "I didn't mean... Anyway. Well, since you overheard what we were talking about," and the other one, like, slaps him on the arm and goes, "They're outsiders." And he, like, looks at him and goes, "And we're fruit farmers. Shut up." So, about maybe a week or so ago, just outside of town, there's a old storage house. It's a bit of a bigger building. Used to be a barn, and we store extra equipment there to not clog up the towns or the town's streets or anything like that. And well, Hearse is in charge of, well, He's the one who keeps it organized. That's his job, is to maintain it. And he saw a demon. And it bloody ripped him apart. He's in critical condition right now at the Fleckheart estate, where our doctor lives. They don't know if he's gonna make it. If he gets any worse, they might have to send out a few folks and transport him to the city. He's awake and able to talk to people, but I think tore him to bits.
And where did they say he was?
At the Fleckheart estate.
Fleckheart estate. Is that on the map or is that out in the
It
out a
is.
ways away? That is on the map.
It's like
that
across the way from where we're at.
That is not how I spelled it. But I forgive you. Okay, great. Did they say how long ago this happened?
They said about a week ago.
A week ago, and he's been in critical condition ever since?
Yes.
Xander looks over to Vivian and says, "Oh, would you look at that? Seems I have our first job."
Vivian also does not dignify that with a response. And I think she says, "Tell me about this demon. Was Hearse the only one who saw it?"
Yeah, he was. We've seen no sign of it since, but, well, my buddy, he saw Hearse after it happened. And, he, like, nudges the other one with his elbow. Like, go on, tell him. They might be able to help us. And, the younger one, which both of these individuals are Hure, he goes, well, he was... From what I could see through all the blood and rips in his clothing, it looked like he had been bitten up real bad. I mean, looks like he was mauled by some kind of beast, but he said that it was he started screaming and shouting that it was a demon trying to seduce him. Said that it had a calming voice. He was erratic at the time due to all the loss of blood. He's awake enough now if you want to talk to him in the morning, but all I know is that it was big. We all found him when the creature was escaping into the forest, but couldn't really make it out. But It was terrible. We didn't think he was gonna make it, but he's still going, I guess.
And I'm sorry, Jess, did they say where this happened?
Yeah, outside of town, so it isn't displayed here on the map. They have like a mini warehouse that they've made out of like an old barn they're not using. And
Sure.
that's where they like keep like extra farming supplies and stuff for the people that go out and get fruit and all that. And that it was Hearse's job to maintain it, basically.
Right.
And that's where this happened. So it was a little bit away, like not super far away from town, but it was outside of the town proper.
Hmm. And no one else has any problems with sexy demons?
So far, no.
Vivian said that.
Oh, okay.
bad.
As far as we've seen, no. Well, not that I know of. I usually keep to myself. I go out, do my little bit of gathering, tend to the trees, and I come back. Especially after what happened to Hearse, I rarely leave the tavern or my home.
Yeah, I don't think she has any other questions for them. I think she stands up and then looks down for a second and then says she's actually going to continue staring straight ahead, but Galinthius will look at all of them. Are they drinking beer?
The younger one, well, he's old enough to drink. He's actually drinking what looks to be some kind of soda.
Okay.
And the other guy, he's like maybe less than a third of a way into his first beer. This group of people was one of the people that entered just before you did.
Okay.
So they haven't had time to marinate in the alcohol.
Yeah, Vivian will leave 2 silver on the table and say, for your drinks, and will walk away back to the bar.
Oh, thank you. I love adventures.
Xander's going to get up as well. He's gonna go back over to the bar, and he's gonna order a ginger beer.
Yeah, the other bartender, Nathaniel was his name. He gets that ready for you since Misty was the elf's name. She's already on the other side of the bar. She is. She's seen enough weird stuff for the day. And while you two were over there, Nathaniel actually strikes up a conversation with Lysel, and he says, "So, have you all been a group for very long?"
No, we kind of just met a little while ago. All ended up in the same kind of predicament, but if it's all the same to you, I'd like to try one of the house specialties.
Oh, I'll make you my favorite then. And he like dips underneath the bar and he takes out a mug that seems to be frosted. Like you heard like he just took it out of like a bucket of ice so that it was cold. And he pours a syrup into it that is literally like has frost like coming off of it, like it almost looks smoky. And then he pours a clear liquid into it and mixes it. And he says the name is kind of silly, but the owner of the place named it the Icy Dragon Drink. It's great. A little bit cold though, so be careful.
And as Lysel reaches for the drink, it's their bony fingers actually wrap around it, so they hardly even notice the chill coming off the glass until they go to take a sip and almost recoil from the brain freeze that follows.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This isn't like anything I've had. Oh, though to be fair, I've not had many drinks in taverns.
Yeah, icy dragon fruit is one of the things that we gather here and trade with the city whenever we can. It's quite literally imbued with elemental energy, which doesn't hurt when you eat it for some reason in comparison to other things, but it's so sweet but refreshing at the same time. It's my favorite.
Do you have them for sale?
Oh, yeah. If you want them fresher, though, Maple Market in the morning sells them right when we pluck them from the trees.
Would it be possible to pluck one myself?
If you speak to... Oh, what's her name? He, looks to Misty and goes, Misty, help me out. What is the Gather Master's name? And Misty, looks over and goes, oh. I mean, mostly people just call her Molly. I don't know her last name or anything like that. She oversees everything here. I'm sure if you asked her, she would allow it.
That would be incredible. This is truly a wonderful taste. I would like to try it fresh.
Yeah, I mean, we do sell them here for 2 copper, but there's nothing like a fresh icy dragon fruit.
Lysol kind of just nods. I would imagine so.
And real quick. And he'll say, you know, you're not the only set of peculiar people in this bar. And he leans forward and he goes, don't make it too obvious, but if you look over your shoulder, do you see that woman there sitting in the corner of the tavern?
Lysol kind of slowly leans a little bit away as he leans forward, trying to further the distance between their faces, but kind of subtly glances over in her direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I grabbed a little image for this. There's a woman sitting in the corner of the bar. She has a really large bag in the seat next to her with a bunch of golden adornments on it. And she has grayed hair and goes in braids that wrap around her neck. And she's wearing a hood and some decorated robes. And she doesn't seem to notice that you have looked over at her. She kind of seems in her own little world, and she's playing with cards, but seemingly with herself. And Nathaniel adds, she claims to be a fortune teller of sorts. You pay her a few gold pieces, and she will give you a fortune. There were a few people here that left our town some years ago that claim that her fortune is what brought them glory and wealth in their adventures, so I don't really know how true that is.
So she's been here for a while then?
Yeah, I mean, she never buys a room. I've never seen her sleep. She just kind of hangs out in the tavern, and then sometimes she leaves and then comes back to buys a meal and just sits there waiting for someone to talk to her. She causes no trouble, but it's still kind of weird.
You know, I think I might like to hear my own fortune. And Lysol is going to place how much was it for the drink?
Just 2 copper.
Yeah, Lysol's going to take out a couple of copper pieces. We'll say 4. I'm leaving a couple of them for a tip and make their way over to the fortune teller with the drink.
Yeah, and does anyone follow or go with Lysol? Because if you were still at the bar, you would have overheard this for sure.
Where's Amiko right now? What's she doing?
Miko.
Emiko's in the bathroom right now.
Yeah, I'll go over there with Lysol.
Yeah, and as you get closer, you hear her kind of humming to herself. And it almost echoes a little bit, as if filled with magic. And she just sits there going...
Excuse me, miss.
Oh, Oh! Hello there.
Lysel's gonna have a seat at the table, or rather, walk up to the table and tap a chair with their bony fingers. Is it okay if I join you?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead, sit down, sit down.
Lysel's gonna look over to Xander and kind of like flick their eyes back to the chairs, like between Xander and the chairs themselves, almost as though they're.
Xander's gonna spin one of the chairs around and do the douchebag sit right by Lysel.
After Xander sits, Lysel will then sit beside him. I heard that you tell fortunes. Would be lying if I said that I wasn't interested in that. That sounds most peculiar.
Oh, yes, I do, and those who get my fortunes gain fame and riches. It is Irwin's way, after all.
Irwin?
Lysel, make me a religion check.
I'll take that too if it's okay.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I got a natural 1.
Religion is wisdom, if I'm not badly mistaken.
Religion is intelligence.
I see. I got a 14.
Yeah, Xander, you've never really heard of Irwin, let alone most of Kelmra's pantheon. That sounds like a thing. Lysel, however, in your short time being here, you have heard of Irwin. Doesn't really have a big following, but Irwin is the goddess of fortune, basically. One of the minor gods of Teosia, in general, but mostly worshipped in Kelmra.
Oh, yes. I believe I've heard of the god of fortune. I take it you are a servant of his?
I am Irwin's most loyal follower. The god of fortune guides me wherever I go.
And might I know your name?
My name is Madame Collymore. Pleasure to meet you. Not many people come and chat with an old woman.
You can call me Lysel. I mean, you seem of an interesting sort.
Some people don't like interesting. They only like what's familiar to them.
Speaking
There is
of
comfort in
familiar,
familiarity.
speaking of familiar to them, Vivian, who was sitting at the bar, did not look over her shoulder at the woman in the corner, but Gale did. We talked a little bit before about how there are witches that will meet with the others and have reasons to travel and see the others. Have I ever seen this woman before? Is she a witch that I know?
You've never seen her before, but the name, but she appears familiar. Not like you've physically seen her, but like if you heard someone describe her, like you've heard someone describe her and this visage, like, makes that memory come to mind.
So heard of a Madame Callamore, but don't have any particulars?
Yeah.
Alright, that's fine. If they're gonna get ripped off, it'll be good for them. She stays at the bar.
How much do you charge for your fortunes?
1 gold piece, or a trinket and a good story.
Before she's even done, Xander flips a gold piece onto the table and says, "Go on then. I want to hear this."
Yeah, she looks to Xander and smiles. The creases in her face growing more plentiful, and she plucks up her.
No. Not for me, for my friend here. I set my own fortune.
And she looks to Lysel and plucks up her bag and puts it on the table, and she goes, "Reach into the bag, my dear."
Lysel's gonna look between.
I do just want to say, as this is happening, I'm watching her like a fucking hawk.
Lysel's gonna look between the bag and Xander and just kind of offer Xander a grateful smile before reaching tentatively into the bag.
Yeah, and go ahead and roll me a d6.
A D6? Yeah, I thought you were gonna say something to do with like a check, so I reached for my D20. How do you cock a D6 piece of feet? I got a 3.
You got a 3. Okay, let me look. All right. So when you reach into the bag, you pull out a gold coin. It doesn't look like a gold piece as in currency, but you pluck out this ancient-looking coin. It's very, very, very old. Whatever things were carved into it are faded almost, where the coin is completely flat. But you can tell there was once very detailed pictures on here. And she peers over her bag, and the edges of her eyes glow gold for a second, and she smiles. And she, claps her hands, albeit very slowly, as it seems if she did it any faster, it would actually hurt her a little bit. And she said, "Oh, that's a good one." And she'll, put the bag away, and she'll look at you, and she'll say, "That coin is a coin of memories. Hold on to all your memories and dreams, and even the ones that are painful. If you forget these dreams, or these ambitions, or the things that you've learned, you'll lose your way." And then she, very gingerly, reaches and turns the coin in your hand to look at the other side. And she says, "The other side of the coin means that there is someone of great wisdom in your life, and you should listen to them and what they teach you. But still remember that you are your own person, and you need to make your own opinions on your life and what you do with it. Those key components are what will lead you to greatness."
You see Lysel just kind of flipping the coin between their bony fingers, making little click-clack sounds as it hits the knuckle bones and then the parts in between the fingers themselves. And they sort of nod as though they are thinking of somebody.
"Keep the coin, my dear."
Oh, why thank you. A gold piece for a gold piece, I suppose.
"Yes, though don't put that one in your coin purse. You might get yourself into a bit of trouble."
What do you mean?
"That coin is very, very old. It can no longer be used as any form of currency, my dear."
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Lysel's gonna look around their bag for a good spot to put that.
DM, I have a question about this ancient gold coin. A non-zero amount of gold minted in Teosia, I assume, comes from the Kingdom of Petrus. Does Xander recognize this coin, or perhaps its origin?
Make me a history check.
Okay, that's not bad. 14?
You do recognize this coin. In fact, your mother collects them, several of them. They come from when Petrus was first built. This was the currency of the elemental kingdoms when they first, started to exist. Meaning this coin was never used on Kelmra. It was used purely between other Duresi like yourself thousands of years ago.
Fascinating. Lysel, do you recognize that coin?
No, I'm afraid it looks fairly similar to the gold piece you paid, but I've never seen something quite like it before.
It was used as currency in the most ancient times of my homeland.
Would you like it then? Is it mean anything to you?
Xander shrugs and says, "I have no use for dusty old memories of my forefathers. Keep it. Maybe it'll bring you some good luck."
Mayhaps it will. But what about you? Are you not going to have your fortune read as well?
As I said, Lysel, I set my own fortunes. And then Xander is going to stand and look to the good madam and say, I must say, I was expecting a snake oil salesman. Glad to be wrong every now and again.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I do no such thing. I just simply want to spread the good faith of Yerwin.
At the mention of snake oil salesman, did she use the gold coin that Xander paid to make that coin in the bag? Did she like do a little bit of swindling, a little bit of chicanery?
Make me an Arcana check.
Can't make this shit up. It's an 11?
Could I have taken that as well, Chess? Because
Sure.
I said I was watching her like a hawk. Ooh, no, that's an 8.
Yeah, an 8 and 11, it didn't look like it. She didn't stow the gold coin in the big bag. She put it in a smaller coin purse on her hip. So if she did do any sort of sleight of hand check, you didn't see it.
I see.
Satisfied with this interaction, Xander is going to give her a polite nod and say, well, perhaps I'll look into collecting some holy texts at some point. Good day to you.
Yeah, she looks at Lysel and says, well, an old woman is tired. If you want another fortune, you'll have to come back tomorrow, dearie. And she, gets up and, picks up her bag and just very slowly starts walking towards the entrance of the tavern.
May Erwin guide you on the path to glory, miss.
She looks at you and smiles, and once again, the rims of her eyes glow gold for a second, and she goes, you as well, my dear. And she walks out the door.
I think Lysel will stand as well at this point and just sip at their, what do I put it? Dragon drink?
Yeah, icy dragon drink.
I had it on the other page of my notes.
It's so fun to say jumpily. But, as you are all settling down, is there anything any of you want to do before you settle for the night for a long rest?
Yeah, we need to go see this guy before he fucking bleeds out.
Oh yeah, did you all want to do that real quick?
I think he
Vivian
gets seen by a doctor.
Yeah, but the doctor doesn't sound like it's going so well. That they were going to be croaking at any second now. Vivian back at the bar, finishing up her juice, sitting there and is pondering. She is looking at her book, specifically at one line, and she is tapping a charcoal pencil against it, a single space over and over again, as if she's making a decision. And she will look over to I think she would look over.
She looks over. Johnny is staring down at the page.
Okay, yeah. You see written on the page that there are, it looks like a numbered checklist, and it seems like the entire journal is mostly filled with it. On one side, there are is a single number with a task next to it, and then the page after that is blank, and you see that she has written some notes on the blank pages. The thing that she is currently tapping, it is number 1, and it says, form an adventuring party, and she has written 3 question marks next to it, and it looks like she is considering writing a 4th. But she goes to look over, rather Gail goes to look over, and sees Johnny's 6'8" frame bearing down on her, and says, and I think that she does put that 4th question mark there and then closes it, and says, Would anybody like to go talk to a dying man with me?
Sure, sounds fun.
Certainly.
Yeah, she
Plus a
just
few more detours on my way home.
hops off the stool and will walk out of the bar without saying anything else.
As we're walking out, Johnny will inquire about the notebook. Your excessive use of punctuation shows uncertainty. Wherefore does your mind lie?
I'm wondering if I can be the type of person to travel with someone who uses wherefore. Mr. O'Near's phage, does my uncertainty bother you?
Nay, but your dismissiveness of the question leaves me wanting more.
Well, let's see how things go in there before we make any decisions. We'll see if there is any more to say.
Quite sharp of you, Vivian.
Yeah, just walks in the house.
Yeah, so... oh, go ahead.
Xander is going to, first of all, make sure that Emiko is with them. And if she is, he's going to walk beside her.
Is there anybody staying behind in the tavern?
So far, I do not think so.
Okay, then yeah, Lysel would definitely go with the group. Not staying in that place by themselves? Nope.
Yeah, when you get to the Fleckhart estate, it's the only place that has a fence, like, all the way around it, and it's surrounded by, trees. There's, like, a nice garden outside. Definitely someone of importance lives here, but you can see on the side of the house, there's, like, an addition to the house, that has a door that is being propped open by a rock, and a little, symbol above it. It looks like a snake coiled around a blade, and it says doctor above it in like 5 different languages. And it is
Great,
decidedly separate from the main entrance of this like home.
Fantastic. Yeah. Go up to and knock on the door.
You hear a soft voice come from inside. Come in.
Reaches up for the handle, twists it, steps inside, and I like to imagine that we did this in order of height. So it's Vivian, followed by Emiko, followed by all the others, until eventually Johnny O'Phage comes fucking lumbering through.
Has to duck in to get
And
to
I'm standing right
door.
behind him because I'm 7 feet in the armor.
There we go. Great. So walks in and says, do I see the person in here?
Yeah, this room isn't very big. There are 4 beds lined up along a wall with curtains that are kind of like dangling from the ceiling. All of them are pushed all the way back as there's not any other people here. And you see a Arikin, which, for clarification, is like a tiefling woman. She has like combed back short bob cut hair and big circular glasses. And she is like walking back and forth, wearing gloves and like a cloth mask over her face. She currently is getting a clean bucket full of water and a clean rag. And she looks up and goes, hello?
Good evening. My name is Mistress Vivian Deshays. We have come to see Mr. Hearse.
Oh, yeah, he just woke up, so please give me just one moment. I will...
Do you need any help?
Oh, are you a doctor?
Not exactly a doctor, but I have a little bit of medical training.
You know, with the way things have been, I can use all the help I can get. I am the town's only doctor, after all. Please, if you're all here to help, just follow me deeper in the room. Just try to be a little quiet. Mr. Hearse, once again, just woke up. He's waiting for his wife to arrive, but she has not shown up yet, so just be a little patient with him. He might be a little upset.
As we're walking, Xander is going to give Emiko a little tap on the shoulder and say, "You've got this," and cast guidance.
Yeah, she leads you back, and there is a halfling man laying in one of the 4 beds as she draws the curtains back. And like the people in the bar said, he looks fucked up. He has bandages all over his face, all over his body. One of his arms is being propped up to keep it elevated, and you can see the tips of his fingers through the bandages are like purpled. He looks pretty terrible. He is almost entirely covered in bandages. There is, in a secured barrel, bloodied bandages inside, as if she just changed the bandages. And the doctor sits beside the bed and sighs and says, "I have been working day in and day out to make sure that he is stable, but we're considering transporting him to the city, which would be a dangerous feat all in and of itself, but it might be what we have to do."
Emiko's gonna walk over there, and put her hand on his forehead and use her hands of healing to, heal him a little bit.
Yeah, what does that do, fully? How much?
I can spend a key point to touch a creature and restore a number of hit points equal to a roll of my martial arts die plus my wisdom modifier.
Oh, cool.
So it's gonna be 8 points of healing. The soft golden glow surrounds her hands as she puts her key into the sky.
Wow, Guinevere's touch, that seems to be doing part of the trick.
Pardon me if you don't mind me asking, but what appears to be the problem with this man?
He was
Can
attacked.
Emiko make?
Oh, go ahead.
Can Emiko make a medicine check to
Go.
see if she can figure out what?
Go for it.
D4.
Add a D4.
You can have advantage because I will help you.
We're all just a bunch of doctors. We all have medicine proficiency.
I don't.
I don't.
No, I meant me, Emiko, and Vivian.
20.
Yeah, you look him over, and since she was in the process of redressing his wounds, you see a lot of bite marks, really big bite marks, and since this man is a halfling, he is, pretty small. There are a bunch of claw marks. It quite literally looks like he got mauled by a large creature. But Vivian, since you're close to this man, seeing his state, it definitely doesn't look like he was mauled by a demon.
Yeah, I was about to ask, can I think Vivian will walk forward, and this guy's awake right now?
Oh yeah, he actually looks at Emiko, and he says, Thank you so much.
Hush. I shove a berry in his mouth.
Ooh.
And then I take Gale, and I will hold her out in my hand and just start scanning up and down his body, trying to determine what it looks like could have caused these wounds.
Make me a nature check.
Nature? Okay. I was really torn. between taking proficiency for nature, taking proficiency for medicine, and ended up going with medicine because of stuff.
Hey, guidance
Guiding
out
myself.
already.
It is a 17.
Looking at this, while you didn't live necessarily in Farwood, you lived pretty close to it, and this looks a lot like, believe it, crazy enough, dinosaur bites. From what one, you can't really tell, not really your strong suit, but some sort of large creature. But then there's also the thing of according to what the people told you, he heard this thing talking to it, which is where that kind of conflicts, but that's what it looks like at a first glance, and after looking over his wounds and thinking of what animals live in the area.
Mr. Hearse, what happened?
I was going to organize some of the things within the warehouse, as we just had a big grizzly plucking season and needed to switch out equipment for when we were getting icy dragon fruits, and I heard a voice in the woods. It was seductive, calling me into the darkness. I felt like I needed to listen. It didn't seem like there was any magic or anything, but the voice was so soothing. And when I walked into the woods, I saw these piercing amber eyes in the shade of the trees. And then, suddenly, the only thing I see is teeth and blackened scales, and then I see my own blood dripping over my eyes, and I feel nothing but pain tearing throughout my body. He kind of flinches.
Mr. Hearse?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I thought he was done. Is he going to say something else?
No, he just kind of flinches, and the doctor, starts to soothe him, no, hey, calm down, calm down.
She will continue to look at his body and say to him, Mr. Hearse, were you under the effects of any narcotics at the time?
No. I was sober as can be. It was early morning. My wife had just made me a delicious breakfast.
And this accounting you told me is completely true?
Absolutely.
Make an insight check.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can I also make that check?
Absolutely.
Myself's been quiet this whole time, just kind of watching. It's a 21.
16.
Yeah.
While they're doing this, can I... Hold on, how long does this take to cast? Just an action. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna cast Detect Poison and Disease.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Vivian and Lysel, you both look at him, and, to his account, he feels like he's telling the truth. He believes that he was attacked by some sort of demonic creature, or what a small town folk would perceive as a demon, as, anything that, bothers them and talks at them while bothering them obviously must be something demonic. But by his accounts, he genuinely believes that he was attacked by some sort of infernal creature.
Yeah. I guess do Joey's thing as well.
And that just detects if he's diseased or poisoned.
If there are any diseases?
Diseases.
Let me read it again. For the duration, you can sense the presence and location of poisons, poisonous creatures, and diseases within 30 feet. You can also identify the kind of poison, poisonous creature, or disease in each case.
Okay. He
So
doesn't...
if he's got anything on the inside of him that's fucking with his physiology, I'm gonna know it.
At most, you can detect that there is, an infection coming on from his wounds that's being... And I'll count that as a disease of some kind. That, there's just... He's so wounded that all of it is trying to heal at once. And so he's kind of getting an infection coming on, but that is about it. He doesn't seem to have any poisons in his system or any other diseases.
With that being said, I take it that because of how fucking injured he is, his body might, alongside the infection, have some deal of shock or something similar going on. While they're having this conversation with him, during a break in the speech, Jay is going to walk up to his side and he's going to say,
Now, I don't care if you count me as a nurse assistant or a personal care practitioner. I'm going to make sure that you, sir, don't have your last night tonight and that you can live on a life of glory. Is that understood?
And in doing so, I'm going to put, I'm going to take the gauntlet off of my right hand. And when I take the gauntlet off, it looks like the same, like the flesh of the hand looks to be the same steel, silvery gray color as the armor. And he puts his hand on the man's forehead, and I'm going to put as many hit points into this guy as I can without going over.
Yeah. Mark off
neutralizing, using 5 points to neutralize the infection, and then whatever's left is going to him.
Yeah, so mark off that you used 8 hit points.
Okay.
And he, like, breathes a sigh of relief. And the doctor, like, smiles, and, like, breathes a sigh of relief as well. And as this happens, you hear someone else walk into the room, and you see a little gnome woman, with her hair done up in a messy bun with a little bonnet, and she's holding, like, a basket of pastries. And she looks a little older in years, and she has, like, markings on her skin. Emiko, you would recognize this as a gnome from the spirit world.
So what do the markings on her skin look like?
They're kind of like just swirly, circly patterns. Gnomes that are spirit can often have different markings. Hers just appeared to be very, like, swirly and blue. And, oh, go ahead.
Would Emiko know much about, this, like, race at all? Or would she just know that they're from the spirit realm?
Make me a history check.
That's, 18.
Yeah, you know that, spiritkin gnomes are able to, see minor effects of magic, just kind of on their own. They can just see magical things surrounding them. And they are very magic inclined. They have, like, a few capabilities that they just do on their own. In the spirit world, you know that they are very good at harvesting very minor amounts of magic out of, like, rock, in the caves of the spirit world. And that's kind of what they spend most of their time doing, is harvesting this magic and turning it into, like, a little powder that they use for minor things, in their day-to-day life.
Does any of that magic include such as, like, illusions?
It does not.
Okay.
At most, they can, basically, mechanically speaking, they can summon a mage hand. That's something that they can do as a race.
Okay.
And she walks in, and Hearse goes, "Thimble, I'm so happy to see you." And she goes, "Oh, I'm happy to see you too, but who are all these people?"
I guess you could refer to us as concerned citizens.
I mean, we're hardly citizens considering that we're not local.
Yeah, I'm not from here.
Oh, are you adventurers come to save my husband? She says, like, hobbling up almost excitedly.
Oh, I'm just a healer on my way home. Figured I'd help out wherever I can.
Indeed.
Oh, this is such good news. No one else in the town seems to want to deal with the creature that attacked my husband. Oh, and Hearse, you look so much better. and she like excitedly like puts her basket on the ground and pulls this cloth off of it and takes out a little pastry and like walks over and puts it on like lays it gingerly on his chest, which he like plucks it up and immediately starts eating it, and he like smiles and like, good as always.
Can I get a quick insight check on the wife here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paranoid bastards. I love you guys.
It's not even that she's so much paranoid. Vivian is extremely nosy and loves being in other people's shit.
Yeah, it's interesting to pay attention to like their dynamic and see like if there's any like noticeable quirks.
Yeah,
I guess.
Did she grit her teeth when she's like, "Oh, you look so much better, dear"? Yeah, it's a 19. What's their relationship like?
I got a 14.
I want to know the last time they were at marriage counseling.
Genuinely, she looks a bit stressed. Like, you know, it's obvious she's trying to hide it with a bright, cheery smile, but there are dark bags starting to form under her eyes. It looks like her skin is a little dry, like maybe she's been crying. So it seems like she's putting on a front right now, but like the joy of seeing her husband better seems to be genuine. But
okay, so not so much that she's stressed like, damn, the fucker didn't die, as much as it is like, damn, for the last week when you've been in bed, I have been doing the jobs of 2 people.
Yeah, basically, she's been dealing with the stress of the fact that her husband might be dying for the last week and being told basically that nobody can help him unless they take him to the city, which is very expensive. But also,
I'm just saying, I'm really trying to start the Real Housewives of Mapleview here, and like we're gonna get there eventually.
But you do see when she says like nobody's helping, this like miniature old lady anger go over her, Vivian.
Yeah.
Like it's like a helpless anger of like you also can't do anything, but nobody else is helping either.
At an opportune moment, maybe not. Maybe actually while this is going on, so everyone else can still talk to the 2 of them. Vivian does want to find the good doctor and like pull her to the side and ask her a couple of questions while the rest of these people are talking to them.
Yeah. She will gladly follow you. And she'll like pull one of the curtains surrounding the other beds over. Not that that makes you unable to hear, but you know, privacy. And she goes, yes, what is it?
How often are people attacked by dinosaurs in this town?
Not very often. Not here.
Do you remember the last one?
Maybe about 2 years ago. And it was very minor. It was just some compies attacked a farmer. He was out of here within a day. Typically the bigger ones don't hang around in this area. There's not plentiful enough prey. Sometimes some raptors try and get our livestock of Parasaurolophus or Triceratops, but other than that, no. There's not plentiful enough food in this area for bigger ones.
Are there places where people are told to stay away from due to dinosaur attacks?
Much deeper into the forests. Since the trees in Farwood are very, very large, they make great cover for larger creatures. Typically people are told not to stay off of walked paths or mapped areas in terms of pathing and whatnot. Usually people are told to stay on the clearest routes to small towns or cities, as bigger creatures will make a snack out of everyone.
Do I know anything about recent developments in Farwood that may have led to dinosaurs being pushed out of their normal hunting grounds?
Make me a history check.
Okay. Oh, no. Doesn't matter with guidance. That's a 3 + 2. That's an 8.
Yeah, probably similar to Mapleview, the small town that you are from doesn't really get up-to-date news, especially not up-to-date news on Farwood. The only thing you know about Farwood is that recently their king died. That's about it.
Okay. I'll just straight up ask her, is there any reason the dinosaurs would have left their normal hunting grounds?
I whispered, but not that I can think of. Nothing that would bring them to Mapleview, at least. Not that I am having that suspension of disbelief that, oh, this is our little town, so nothing bad can happen, but really, this isn't a phenomena that happens that often because of the lack of sufficient prey. But I don't really hear much of what goes on in the bigger cities that would have driven them out.
Okay, I think that's all Vivian had for her. She'll nod and say, thank you for your time, Dr.
Oh, my name is Dr. Nies. N-I-Y-E-S.
Great. Yeah, that's all she had.
Yeah, she, like, pulls back the curtain again, and in this time, since it looks like, Hearse was basically talking his wife's ear off about how Emiko healed him and how it was amazing, and how then, Sir Elwood, like, did some shit, now he feels even better. And the gnome woman, who you've learned her name is Thimble, walks over to you, Emiko, and she says, "Dearie, can I ask you something?"
Yeah, sure.
Are you good at fighting things? You all look very strong.
Yes, ma'am.
And she, like, gets this, like, her eyes quite literally, like, literally twinkle. And she says, "I only know that he was attacked by the warehouse, but maybe you could all see if you can find the creature. If you do, I will give you, my entire life's savings and my favorite book. If you do this
maybe
for
only
me."
like half of that is necessary, but yes. I would like to help with this if you guys would all like to as well.
Of course. You've come this far, might as well finish the job.
And Hearse, he, like, looks very concerned. He goes, "Oh, Thimble, don't bring these nice people to their doom." "No nonsense. We couldn't do anything about it because we're farmers, but look at these people." I mean, she, like, gestures to Elwood. "Look at this gentleman. He's in shining armor. These are just the type of people we need, and this young lady can heal with her hands."
Not sending us to our doom, good sir. Sending us to our glory.
I mean, look. And she, like, gestures to everyone in the party, like, to Johnny and Lysel and Xander. "These are just the people. Maybe they can solve some of the other problems happening in Mapleview, and we can finally be safe." And Hearse goes, "Oh, don't start on that, Thimble." "No, I mean it."
Not to put a finer point on it, kind sir, but this is exactly the type of work that at least I signed up for, so...
You know, he would be in bed by now, but tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, you should go speak to Sarah's Blue Tongue. You should. You should go speak to him. It's for something else entirely, but things have been going outright terribly in this town." And, Dr. Nies, like, puts a reassuring hand on Thimble's shoulder and says, Now, calm yourself, Miss Thimble." "I'm serious," she says, like, she, like, kind of, like, stomps her foot. It seems like she's, like, just so small and gentle, it's very hard for her to, like, shout, but, like, she means business. "We've had people disappearing, and no one's done anything about it, and whenever the guards from Skymount come to check on us, they say that they'll get to it. We're so small that it's always we'll get to it and never any results. What if it gets worse? Now my husband's being attacked by creatures in the trees."
I mean, she does have a point. It would be very wise to stop whatever it is that attacked, whoever attacked our little friend here from doing the same to someone else.
Again,
Not to worry, Lysel. I'm certainly buying what you're selling. Again, I can only speak for myself, but I think it would be we could definitely do a lot of good here, I think.
She like smiles, and the glow and the patterns on her skin start to glow, seemingly matching her excitement. And she says, "Once again, if you do this for me, I will give you all of my life savings. Don't try to convince me out of it, young man. It'll be worth every copper."
So,
It would be
right now, we're in the fucked
wrong
state, right?
to accept your life savings in exchange for this task.
What if instead of money you said you're farmers, right?
Yes.
Do you have like any extra land that we can make a safe camp on?
Oh, there's places to camp around here. Sometimes the farmers don't go back into their homes, they just stay out in the fields, near the trees. There's definitely a safe place you can set up, or you can stay in the tavern. They won't have any problem with that. But even if you don't accept all my life savings, I am still paying you. You deserve compensation for your hard work, after all.
Mrs. Hearse, I am sure that we will work something out. Rest assured, we will take care of this. And I think Vivian is going to walk over at this point, having seen that the group appears to be mostly on board, not only with not taking all of her money, and also with doing this task. She, her shoulders are a little bit less slumped than they were before, and she will walk forward and reach into her bag and pull out a couple sprigs of holly that she picked up on the walk here as we were coming here. Pick up a small black volcanic rock. She will wrap a little bit of string around it so the two are together, and then she will take a feather that she picked up a few days before being captured, a small blue jay feather, and tuck that in as well. And she will say, "We will do everything in our power to take care of this demon and make sure that it does not attack you again. But there is something that the two of you must do, and you must do it together, and it is very important." And she will take the small rock, holly, and feather combo and tuck it into Mrs. Hearse's hand, reach down and tuck it also into Mr. Hearse's hand. And they'll say, "The two of you, every morning and every night, for the next 3 days, you must hold this together in your hands, and you must say, 'This heart is pure, this home is pure, evil has no welcome here.'" And you must say that 3 times. Do you understand?
Yes.
That will keep you safe. I promise that we will take care of this.
Hearse nods and says, "I hope you take care of that demon."
Absolutely. She looks over to the rest of the group and says, "Well, anything else we need to do, or should we start in the morning?"
I have something out of character that I need to ask if no one else is, or if everyone else is done here.
And what's that?
The Knights of Pelor, Riabella, the other survivors, have they left yet? Or are they all here?
Oh no, they left. They immediately started for the city.
They dropped us off and fucked off.
Yeah, basically, since you're like adventurers, they like kind of just were like, "You guys don't need to go all the way with us. Here's civilization. Have fun."
I also really like that they're like, "You guys seem like a paperwork liability. We're gonna drop you off outside of town."
No, literally, like, like they saw a group of adventurers that made a barricade and fucking knocked out and beat the shit out of a bunch of fucking Skinari, and were like, "Yeah," and dropped you the.
Pretty badass of us, wasn't it?
It was pretty badass, and where badass adventurers are, also there is trouble.
Yeah, so I think if that's done, Vivian's gonna lead the way back outside, wishing the 3 of them a good night. And as soon as we get outside, out of earshot, she looks back and says, "It was a fucking dinosaur."
Yeah, like you all get out and the doctor like closes the door, because now it is like officially nighttime. early in the night, but nighttime nonetheless. There is nobody outside but you. So there's like the faint sound of crickets, and Vivian just turns around and says that.
In response to what Vivian said, Xander's shoulders kind of slump and says, "Fucking dinosaurs."
Still bizarre because they shouldn't be in this area and they shouldn't be attacking people like that. And he seemed to believe the story about the voice, which, if nothing else, it's worth looking into. But I suppose if nothing else, we can take care of a dangerous animal in the vicinity and help the town that way.
I mean, surely it must be more than just one dinosaur. I can't say I've heard of any dinosaurs that have the ability to, well, communicate via words and even persuade people into doing things.
Entirely possible. He may have also hallucinated. It wouldn't be the first time I've seen blood loss do that to a person. But perhaps it is also something that is controlling the creature or something else. Regardless, we can start in the morning.
Perhaps it's just a red cap in disguise. We'll never know. If we offer it a fruitcake before we kill it, maybe it'll tell us some stories.
What?
Great.
It's an old wives' tale back in Petrus. If you come across a red cap that's trying to kill you, you offer it a fruitcake, and instead of killing you, it'll tell you a story. It's obligated to.
Well, now that just ain't the cutest thing I ever heard.
Now that we're walking through like the starry lit city, the flickers and motes of the different colorations underneath Lysel's skins are much more evident.
Yeah, just kind of being like a little mini walking disco ball in the town.
And I know the Aetherkin are already kind of like, a little wacky. Have any of us seen an Aetherkin like Lysol before?
If at all, not really. But Aetherkin are very unique. Each one can be distinct from another. But they do look very unique. There's like green and red and purple markings that seem to shift underneath their skin and produce a soft glow.
I mean, I'm gonna be real. Xander just thinks Lysel is a healer who's had a bad go of it.
A particularly unique aspect of Lysel is that their hands are bones. Not like super skinny, like literal skeletal hands.
Like a really bad go of things.
Thank you. Great. So as we're walking back to the tavern, seeing that as well, I think that Viv is not going to immediately point out her friend and being like, yo, why is your skin so weird? So she's instead just going to ignore that for right now. She does, however, pull out the journal and walks up next to Johnny. And she says, Mr. Onero's phage.
Only Johnny.
Very well, Mr. Onero's phage. So, and she reaches down into the book, and where there were 4 question marks, she now puts a check mark next to gather an adventuring party. And she says, I didn't want to tie myself down to anyone that I would not agree with. Is that an answer enough for you?
Johnny seems satisfied. As if he's just had a fine meal. Prudent, Mystic is.
Mistress, but that's fine. And she then writes in parentheses next to it, need group name, and then closes the book and puts it in her backpack and says, we can talk about it tomorrow.
While this is going on, Xander, who's still walking by Emiko, now that they're like kind of out of earshot, is like doing that voice where you want to imply that you're being very loud, but you don't actually want to be loud because you don't want to fucking piss people off. I mean, it's just like, that was incredible, Emiko. How'd you do that?
Emiko's just gonna like rub the back of her head like awkwardly and be like, it's something I picked up. I guess I've always had like a healing touch.
Really incredible. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I saw Sir Elwood do something similar, but you know it makes sense given the very little that I know about him. But I was not expecting such a thing. I've just kind of seen you punch people thus far, and it just works.
Yeah. See, like, I view punching people as a means to an ends, but like, what I really like is helping people. I
see.
But
Sort of multiple ways to save lives situation.
yeah, exactly.
Well, color me impressed, Emiko. I look forward to seeing your other hidden tricks as we travel together.
Thanks.
So, is there anything else anyone wants to conclude before you bundle down for a long rest?
Well, I don't know about the lot of you, but I could use some fucking shut-eye after the day we've had.
Oh, ow, fuck.
And,
So, with sleepwalking, if you use the definition for a long rest outlined by the PHB and the sage advice on elves, you can complete a long rest by sleeping for 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So since Johnny can ambulate as he sleeps and is unconscious, could I continue moving around and being productive during the long rest?
Yeah, somewhat. Some things would be done slightly slower, but you can still do things with your sleepwalking ability.
Okay. While everybody sleeps, Johnny is going to go out and maybe try to do some light information gathering for our task tomorrow.
Do you want to, like, look around the area that this happened?
Yes, get some clues and maybe a good lead for the morning on where to go.
All right.
You will do this stealthily?
Yeah, make me an investigation check.
Oh boy's about to
I do
come next
so.
victim.
Advantage due to sleepwalking. Do so with guidance. Say 24 investigation with advantage guidance.
Yeah, so you wander in the direction that you were told that this all transpired, weaving your way through the fruit trees and into the darkness. And you do eventually find the little mini warehouse, and you can even see where the scuffle happened. It seems like nobody's come back to really clean up. You can see the blood spills on the ground that have now turned brown with age and being oxidized, and you can see the area of struggle, more or less. And you, with a 24, can definitely confirm a few things. For one, it definitely looks like a dinosaur with the tracks and everything, but obviously no one came to investigate because fuck that. These are small townspeople. But there are a few different things that you notice. You also notice the evidence of spell casting. There are a few scorch marks on the ground, but when you were talking to Hearse, he didn't really look much like a spellcaster. Probably did not do this in any... He also explained that he didn't get the chance to defend himself. So but by the looks of it, there are only signs of two individuals, the creature and Hearse himself, and then the people that came to rescue him, but this happened after the events of the attack. But you see old scorch marks along the wood and along the dirt, implying fire or spells of some kind. And looking around, you can see the direction that the creature might have went. Of course, it kind of gets buried by the trees and the dirt and the darkness of the outside, but at the very least, you can tell that this creature is definitely not normal, if it is just a dinosaur. And you can also tell that it went west of the city. Well, not city. It's not big enough to be a city. West of the town. And let me make sure I said everything in order. You can tell the direction the creature went. You can tell that it was definitely just the creature and Hearse himself. You can also tell that there was evidence of spell casting, which you can deduce couldn't have really been done by Hearse, just by you just spent like 30 minutes talking to him. And yeah, you gather all of that. Is there anything else you want to look into, or is that sufficient for what you were looking for?
Johnny gets down on... these look like bipedal or quadrupedal tracks? The 4 set or 2?
Definitely bipedal.
Yeah, so he is going to get down and try to stand in these tracks and trace the scorch marks, assuming they were fired from some central point. As he does this, can Johnny ascertain if the creature would have been the one casting these spells?
Based on the fact that it, standing in its place, it was definitely a large-sized creature, and where the scuffle was and where the burn marks are, you can, as wild as it sounds, safely make an assumption that the spells or spell-like effects came from the creature.
Got it. And what was the DC of that investigation check?
The DC was, let me look. Sorry, I had my note for that up because I did have a set DC. 14.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah, Johnny records... Oh no, he doesn't have a pen.
You should get
Johnny's
on that.
Johnny's gonna find a pen.
You find, like, there's, like, a log on the warehouse. Like, there's, like, a little... I would call it a clipboard, but it's really not so eloquent. It's like a piece of bark that's been sanded down to be a square with, like, paper stuck to it. That has, like, it's tied by a string, a piece of charcoal. Not a charcoal pencil, just a whole-ass piece of charcoal. Dangling off of it, used to write on the paper. It's like a log that Hearse keeps of the things he's cataloged inside the warehouse and all that.
Yeah, he'll take a chunk of charcoal for his own and record all of this in the spellbook. Tear out the pages and reserve them. For the rest of the night, he will just stalk about town until morning comes.
Real quick, just to resolve this, can you make me a perception check, to sense any, dreams? So you'll have this at advantage.
It's a dirty 20 with an advantage.
Yeah, so as you're stalking about the town, you collect quite a few pretty good dreams. You find some dreams about adventuring and riding along a enlarged raptor into victory. You find a few dreams about eating delicious fruit. And you even find the dream of someone who wishes to be a high priest someday for Guinevere, the goddess of life. And
as he goes about, his mouth begins to salivate, and he wipes away the spit, and thinking this probably isn't healthy, he will return to the tavern and slip the summary of what he found under Vivian's door, then go and lock himself in his room until morning.
Yeah, and, in the morning, all of you wake up as early or as late as you usually do, and you can hear the sound of chit-chat and plates and silverware clanking downstairs as people have already woken up to start having breakfast.
Yeah, I think Viv is typically the type of person to wake up very early. So she wakes up and sees that she wakes up and right now Gale is currently curled up in a ball on her chest. And so she's like trying to look around, but Gale's still asleep. So she's like, hey, Gale. And Gale jumps up and looks around the rest of the room, immediately puts up both hands like it's about to start fighting. But then figures out that we're just waking up and climbs up onto her shoulder, gets dressed, looks over, sees the slip of paper that has been tucked under her door, and will go pick it up. And it's all the information that Johnny just found. And we'll head downstairs and get ready for everyone else.
Yeah, there's two different barkeeps than you saw last night. They appear to be, to Xander's surprise, one of them appears to be a hairdresser, who has, like, something covering her hair to hide the windiness of it. But the hat she's wearing lightly sways with her as it can't really be contained that well. And the other one is another elven woman of a much, much paler complexion than the one yesterday, with much shorter hair. And they're both, like, basically circling around each other trying to get everything going and started.
Yeah. Viv walks up to them and just says, excuse me. Apart from my friends, and apart from the old hack that's sitting over in the corner the other day, has there been anyone new in town recently?
The elf, like, taps the other woman on the shoulder and goes, "You saw something, right?" And she goes, "Yeah, I'll take care of it." And she, like, slides in front of where the elf was standing and goes, a few weeks ago, there was a strange woman in town. She didn't really stay that long, and she never came into the tavern, but she bought some fruits from the market and made a weird ink out of one of them, and very creepily left. The town was talking about it for several days. Because we don't...
Fine. How does one creepily leave? Do you mean in the literal sense? In that she was creeping?
In a sense, it seemed like she was very clearly not hiding, but her strides implied that she was being stealthy. But she was walking along the road and in broad daylight, but she was kind of slumped over, and she, like, wiggles her hat and says, had a hood pulled over her head, and it was all kinds of weird. We've never seen her before. She hasn't been back since. She just bought some fruit, emptied one of them into a vial, and whispered something into it, tested the substance she'd made with a pen, wrote on her hand, and left.
No, it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 or 3, give or take. The days all blend together working this job, but it definitely was around 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah. Viv will give her 1 copper and will then go sit over at a table and wait for her friends.
I think Lysel doesn't take too much longer to head down the stairs to meet up with Vivian. In truth, they had just been waiting for everyone else to wake up, not wanting to walk down by themselves, but seeing as how they were awake much earlier than the rest of the group, decides just to head right down.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, the tavern is a lot crazier in the morning than it is at night. All of the people that work early in the morning are in here, and they're all eating their breakfast and chit-chatting before getting ready to go in the farm. Some of them are still gearing up, even. The tables are really busy, and there is, excuse me, burp, loud chatter just echoing throughout the room.
Yeah, Lysel looks visibly uncomfortable at the volume and ambience of the room as they sit beside Vivian.
Yeah, there's a lady going around carrying a basket, and she's like dropping pastries on the counter, and she thinks that you two are farmers. She doesn't realize that you're not, and she goes, "All right, everyone gets one every morning. Here you go. Eat it up. We have a lot of work to do before the sun goes down. Let's go. Come on, eat up, eat up, eat up."
Vivian looks, or rather, Gail looks down at the pastry that's been plopped in front of her, and then slowly looks over and meets eyes, or at least 2 of the 4 eyes, of the skeleton-tanned Aetherkin. Like, yes, clearly, we are farmers.
That does not stop Lysel from covering their mouth as they eat. Just kind of trying to hide from all the noise, quietly munching on the pastry.
Now, what are you talking about?
As Xander sees all this, he gets kind of curious. He's going to form the thumb and index finger of his left hand into like a circle, and he's going to blow through it, and a bubble of what looks like molten glass begins to form. Chess, I'm going to cast Druidcraft. What's the weather for today going to be?
Sunny and clear. A bit cold, but no clouds or snow. So it seems like they're all trying to take advantage of the daylight.
Yeah, and as the molten glass expands, it turns to a lovely yellow color with just some blue tinges around it. And as the now glass ball falls into Xander's other hand, it stays for a moment and then rapidly seems to decay, as if aging thousands of years in seconds, before turning into a nice, just glass dust in his palm that he pockets.
Yeah. You see all of the fruit gatherers and farmers are trying to, like, wolf down their breakfast so that they can get out. Like, some people, like, literally just lifting their plates, scooping the food into their mouths, setting the plate down, and getting up and walking out of Gatherer's Corner. But we don't really need to spend much time on this. Do you all go over, or I guess I should ask more specifically, Vivian, after everyone's downstairs, do you go over what was left under your door?
Yeah, sure. And bring them up to speed on, I don't know if the woman that came in and made Sleepy Ink is related at all, but I'll bring it up just in case.
Well, that does all sound rather ominous, doesn't it?
Maybe she has something to do with, well, what happened to Hearse.
The timing doesn't really match up.
Not entirely impossible, but I think it's too early to come to a conclusion one way or the other.
Based on the notes that Johnny dropped off, when we're talking about the tracks that look like dinosaur tracks that are west of town, is that the direction where the warehouse was?
Yeah. They start at the warehouse and go westward from there.
Okay. Well, that's as good a place as I need to start. So let's go.
Yeah, does anyone have anything they need to resolve or anything before they dip?
Lysol's gonna make a stop at the Maple Market to try and get one of those fresh ice dragon fruit.
Yeah, it's already open and there's like all the stalls are filled with all kinds of merchandise, mostly fruit and like stuff for people's day-to-day lives. And icy dragon fruit will run you for 3 copper.
Yeah, Lysol's gonna pick up enough for everyone in the group to have one and just kind of come rushing back over with just an arm full of them. I got a part of your breakfast, then, a little pastry if anybody wants one.
Yeah, they kind of look like how we know dragon fruit, but they are a brilliant blue color, and they have this sort of cold mist coming off of them. They're very cold to the touch, and they also do look like they have literal scales on them. The fruit is meant to be peeled before it is enjoyed.
So Lysol's just gonna start handing one out to each party member.
Thank you, Marcel. And Xander's going to eat the icy dragon fruit. As he's doing so, I'm going to check out the market. Are there any carpenters?
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for somebody who builds furniture or repairs furniture.
There seems to be... Well, they don't have furniture as an example. There is a Lupra individual, so like a dog person, who seems to be in the woodworking field.
Excuse me, you there, woodworker.
She looks up and just says, "Huh? Me? Who? What?"
Yes, ma'am. Yourself. I was wondering, would it be possible for me to commission you to, make a cabinet?
A cabinet?
More specifically, I suppose a wardrobe.
It would... I mean, sure, it would take me a few days. I'd have to go gather the wood and whatnot. It would be a much bigger order.
Very specifically, I'm looking for something like this. And he unfolds a sheet of parchment and hands it to her. And basically, it's a roughly drawn schematic, obviously by somebody who doesn't really understand the finer intricacies of woodworking. But it's for a wardrobe with a false back.
I can do this. It would run you about 5 silver. But I definitely can. But once again, it would take me about 5 days up to a week, because I'd have to go get the wood myself.
That's quite alright. I get the feeling we're going to be in town for some time. Here you are. And I'm gonna give her a gold piece.
Oh. She, like, looks at it, like, bewildered. Her ears start twitching. And, she goes, "Thank you kindly," and she, like, puts it away and says, can I have your name?
You may call me Xander. Pleasure.
Yeah, she, like, seems to etch into wood with her claw rather than writing with a pencil, your name and what you asked for, and then she takes the schematic and holds it and puts it in her bag and says, yep, I will haul it to the market in, to be safe, 6 days' time. And she nods.
I shall be here. Good day. And, he's going to continue walking with his companions.
Is sweet. So, you all head out into the woods, and inevitably you do cross paths with the warehouse that Hearse was speaking of. And there is a seeing this in the daylight, it is much more I would say obvious. There was a pretty big scuffle here that obviously didn't last very long. There's minimal struggle, but all of the notes add up. There is the scorch marks along the building and along the ground. The very large footprints that can be, I didn't say this before, but can be associated with a theropod dinosaur, which you can choose whether or not any of your characters know this, but that's basically another term for like a bipedal larger predator. So think like Tyrannosaurus Rex, stuff like that. That after the scuffle, it looks like the footprints stalked into the larger part of the woods. And as you make your way through, I would like Lottie-Dottie everybody to make me survival checks.
Survival? Who can do that? That's pretty good. I can get the server again, but fantastic. Hey!
Yeah, put those in rolls for me if you would, if you haven't already. Okay, rolls. 21.5.
Okay.
Dumb.
21, 3, 20. Okay, so Johnny, yeah. Lysel, and Emiko, did you make that roll as well? Did I miss it?
I sure can roll you one.
1.
Yeah.
So that's a 7.
Yeah, so Jay and Emiko, you guys, like, you follow the tracks and, you know, you got a good start. The moment it gets to the point where you get into the woods to have to follow the tracks more, like, focused, it's like, nope, they're gone. It disappeared. It disappeared out of thin air. It's gone. But for the rest of you, and Xander, though, you get a little bit further. You go, yep, it definitely broke this branch, and after that, it flew. Like, I don't know where it went.
I think, as they're doing this, there's like a bird that flies by, and Xander looks up and says, "Is that a seagull?"
No, couldn't be.
No, definitely not.
Does anyone have any idea how many squires I hired to do this for me?
And but for Johnny and Lysel and Vivian, you guys are hot on this thing's trail. Obviously the trail is a little bit old, so there's points in time where you have to like kind of do a little bit more of a thorough investigation, examining the flora and how it was affected when it was stepped on, and starting to follow that rather than tracks. But eventually you get really, really deep into the Farwood wilderness where the trees start to get a little bigger. If any of you know what sequoia trees are, that's a lot of what's in Farwood. These huge, trees. And, you see as you go through that there's definitely more, activity, within it. You actually see, I wouldn't call it a herd, but a small group of large, wild, Parasaurolophus just walking about. They don't seem to pay you any mind. They kind of like know that you're there and just go, well, you're not chasing us, so we don't care.
As we're walking, can I ritual cast Speak with Animals?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I talk to one of the Parasaurolophus?
Yeah, real quick, make me an animal handling check at advantage.
Oh, that's really good. Oh, that's really good. 19.
Yeah, so at first they kind of like startle like, all right, one of them goes, the two-legged creatures are walking towards us. The things are walking towards us. But you kind of, since you're able to speak with them, you kind of like go, hey, it's fine. I just need to ask you something. And then the same one goes, the two-legged things can communicate with us. And,
does Xander know what Parasaurolophus eat?
They're herbivores, so there's a particular, leaf that's very, sticky when you touch it. They really like to eat those.
Do I see any of those sort of leaves nearby?
Oh yeah, they're grazing on them actively.
And I assume because they're leaves, I'm trying to put myself in the proverbial shoes of a Parasaurolophus. I assume the ones that are higher up are, tastier, yeah?
Yeah, you see that they're, stepping on their hind legs to try to, get some.
Yeah, I'm gonna cast Mage Hand, and I'm gonna collect, as much as I can from, 30 feet up, and bring them down to the Parasaurolophus, and I'll say, and Xander will say, I'll trade you these delicious leaves for some information, if you will.
One that seems to be bigger, and I guess, the one in charge, you would say, steps in front of the one that initially was, talking to you and, being warning, there's a thing coming near us. This one steps forward and goes, two-legged one, I am interested in your proposal.
We're tracking a apparently quite angry and dangerous creature that is able to talk to two-legged individuals such as ourselves without using, the same trick I did. Have you seen any odd dinosaurs around here?
Before I answer the question, can I see how tasty the leaves you're holding are?
You may sample one.
Yeah, it it plucks a leaf off of the branch that you've gathered and eats it and lifts up his head as if thinking about how tasty the leaf is. Real quick, Xander, make me a persuasion check.
I'm very good at those. 24. Easy.
Yeah, the creature munches on the leaf and goes, this is adequate. You can tell that this Parasaur, since you're a person, is trying to seem much more,
Cagey.
proper, yeah, than it actually would be. Considering that the smaller Parasaur just looks at it like, what are you doing? And it says, yes, there was a strange one that chased off the herd a few days ago. And it speaks in the two-legged tongue.
I see. Do you know perhaps whereabouts it would have went?
The Parasaur, stands further on its hind legs, and it starts to make noises, which sounds like little, honks and squeaks coming from the crest along its nose. And points, further west, but a little to the northwest. And says, deeper into the forest that way, where other predators reside. Although it's been chasing away and riling up the others, as it is able to produce a miniature version of the sun from its maw.
A what?
I see. Well, thank you for the information. And I'm going to, I'm gonna give him the whole branch.
Yeah, it starts to eat it and shares it with the smaller one, and some of the others walk up and just all start going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. There's 12 of them.
I mean, if I can, I'm gonna pull a couple more branches for him.
Yeah, they all start just saying oh, thank you so much, thank you, gracious two-legged one, thank you. You see one that's a lot smaller. This one's obviously a baby. It runs up to Vivian, and you are the same height. And, Vivian, do you keep your berries in, a pouch, your good berries in, a pouch, or your hat or something?
No, she keeps them in her bag.
It walks up and starts sniffing your bag. Just going,
excuse you. She can speak to this one? Because it's a small creature. Excuse you. Is there something I can help you with?
You smell like sweets.
What concern is that of yours?
The little baby one like backs away a little and just like dips its head in apology and says, "Sorry."
That's better. How do you ask?
Two-legged one, can I please have a sweet?
Why?
We haven't had sweets in some time after the big scary thing chased us away.
She like thinks about it for a minute and then pulls out a berry and tosses it to it. Here you go.
Yeah, the small parasaur like eats it and then like starts like happy running in circle and then runs back over to the cover of her mother. And starts excitedly talking to her like, "I got a sweet treat. I got a sweet treat. I got a sweets. I got sweets." And after enjoying the offerings you gave to them, the small herd of parasaur all start to walk away.
Sandra like crosses his arms and watches them leave and kind of says out loud, mostly to himself, maybe they aren't so bad after all, before rejoining with his companions.
Yeah, and as you're heading in the direction that they gave you, talk amongst yourselves for a few minutes. I just have to real quick use the restroom.
So, it's capable of producing a miniature version of the sun from its maw.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's a very concerning phrase.
Could it mean like some kind of fire magic instead of?
Or perhaps that I could breathe fire.
There were scorch marks, according to Johnny's notes. Excuse me, she would say Mr. Onerophage's notes.
But what kind of a creature or dinosaur would be able to use magic and or fire and or speak?
Not a normal one.
Perhaps the blackened scales were the doings of a dragon, maybe. Dinosaurs and dragons very easily mistaken for one another, are they not?
Perhaps it is a dragon that just doesn't have wings?
I am hesitant to believe that,
Isn't that what just look like a dinosaur is?
basically. I'm hesitant to believe that Mr. Hearse would confuse a dinosaur for a demon. Even uneducated farmers can usually tell the difference.
Okay, so we think this thing can speak common, can breathe fire, and somehow knows how to make illusions.
I wouldn't be surprised if we find out it can shoot lightning bolts out of its ass as well.
To be fair, I can also speak common and make illusions, though I haven't gotten the fire breathing down yet.
And if I saw you shit a lightning bolt, I think I'd shit myself.
I definitely think it's clear that this creature is not all it is presumed to be. I know it's a trite cliche, but we should be ready for anything.
Including but not limited to a giant black dragon that can cast illusions and breathe fire out of its mouth and just so happen to lose all of its wings.
And shit lightning bolts out of its ass, yes.
How could I have forgotten that part? My mistake.
Well, we continue then.
Of course.
Just as soon as God gets back.
Anybody notice that it always gets like 2 degrees colder after they leave?
What?
No? Just me? Yeah, forget I said anything.
I mean, we do know it's supposed to be a cold day today. Maybe it's just changing the temperature.
That's an excellent point, Lysa. So, I'm curious. Where do all of you hail from? Didn't really get much of a chance to go over the basics of introduction while locked away in cages like rats.
Well, don't everybody get jump at the opportunity at once.
I myself am, of course, from the elemental kingdom of Petrus. Still learning about Calmra and all of its quirks and intricacies. It's quite different from my homeland, but a charming place nonetheless. What about you, Lysel?
Oh, I'm from this quaint little town in Northreef. I wouldn't say that I grew up there, but that is where I spent the majority of my first days in this world.
I see.
Why did you leave?
Because my mentor left. I didn't really know what to do or where to go, but I didn't think that staying was quite appropriate.
And are you looking for your mentor now?
I don't think they would want me to be looking for them. I think that they would want me to find what to do with myself. And if I happen to find them along the way, I would like that.
And is that what you want?
Yes, I think that is what I would want. I'm still a little unsure.
Well, uncertainty is healthy in measures, of course. And what about you, Mistress Desires?
What about me?
Well, I suppose I don't quite know terribly much about you. Seems fitting if we're going to become a more permanent fixture of an adventuring group that perhaps I get to know you a bit more.
Does it?
If you're comfortable with such a thing, I won't pry if it distresses you.
I'm sorry to say it's not terribly interesting. I'm from a small town and I am in my apprenticeship and I am in the process of leaving said apprenticeship.
I see. Moving on to greener pastures, so to speak.
She looks around, so to speak.
And what of you, Sir Elwood? How does a knight such as yourself find himself trapped in a cage by a bunch of Skinari, no less?
Well, if you must know, I was traveling on my way home to Redka after making a journey out north to try to find a how do I say, a ne'er-do-well. And on my way back, after finding out my search was leading me towards nothing, I ended up fighting a bunch of those Skinari folk outside of, oh, hell, I don't even remember where I was anymore. I just remember that the fight was glorious. Could never see a thing in front of me with all the snow and ice and freezing winds. And, just when I thought that the fight was won, I succumbed to either the cold or some form of poison and ended up waking up inside of that cave with you all.
Fascinating. I suppose I never really asked, but are you one of the Knights of Palor, or do you belong to some other organization?
No, sorry, Bob, I do declare I am a knight of Redka. I follow no particular god or allegiance, I simply follow the path of glory.
And who was this ne'er-do-well?
Ah, see, that's the problem. I know little of their name. All I know is that there was some sort of, it's hard to say without giving misinformation. There's still quite a lot that I don't even know just yet.
Can I get a cheeky little insight check on that?
Sure, go ahead.
Sweet. 26.
26. Yeah, So Elwood is thus far, because you rolled fucking high. You rolled a 26. Thus far, Elwood has been sort of a man of mystery. Very confident man with very confident sense of self. But nonetheless, you know, still very mysterious, as if he's possibly putting on some sort of front. But so far, at least as far as you can tell, he hasn't told any lies about himself, aside from what he was when he was trying to bullshit the guards back in the cage about the army of Retka coming to save you guys. That was pretty much the only. That might be the only lie that you've ever heard him utter.
Okay, and this time included?
Yes, this time included. It seems like he truly is. He was out searching. He was trying to figure stuff out, but just wasn't able to, and then ended up having to give up the search. And as such, doesn't really have much information to give you.
Hmm.
And
Why
he's
were
not
you
very happy about it either.
And if you don't know who he was or what he did, why were you searching for him in the first place?
Oh, well, I know for a fact it's not a him. It is definitely, most certainly a her. And if you must know, it's because I got a lead that was, albeit now that I think back on it, very mysterious indeed.
That doesn't particularly answer my question of why her. Are you in the business of tracking down ne'er-do-wells, or is there something special about this one?
Unfortunately, my path of glory has turned into quite the vengeful one. There was an incident involving this person that harmed people close to me very dearly, and I wish to see them brought to justice.
Well, if we come across her, point her out, and we will all, as they say, beat the ever-living shit out of her.
That would be ideal, but, that'll be a bridge that we have to cross when we come to it.
Well, if we find a woman you don't know who did a thing you can't remember to some people that were close to you once, we'll, as you say, follow your lead.
Well, I can't give out all the mystery at once now, can I?
Even to yourself, it would seem.
Vivian's eye twitches.
Keeping it to myself, not necessarily of my own volition, mind you. It's just, I don't want to lie to you. Not on purpose.
It is most appreciated, so Elwood.
The path of glory has no room for liars nor betrayers.
And as you're all having this conversation, I would like Lottie-Dottie everybody to make me a perception check. This is to see something.
Yeah, Andrew's rolling hot tonight.
I've actually been back for a little bit, but I was enjoying your conversation.
Oh.
And you said roleplay while you were gone.
I did, and you guys actually did it this time. I had my meme ready. That is true, you guys do.
I specifically requested it.
I had that meme ready to go. I was holding it in my hand.
Guys, we gotta stop. We gotta stop meeting like this. 21, 21, 22. What's going on right now?
It's fucking real.
It's the curse.
Leave me alone.
They're not in my head.
Kira.
Ah. Okay. Oh my god, 20! Oh my god, it's real!
Ah, it's fucking real.
20, 21, 22.
The One Piece is real.
And we almost got it again with that 13 and 15. That was one shy of it.
Oh my god, we're like so in sync. This is crazy.
Oh my god. So, honestly, pretty much everybody.
Lottie-dottie.
Yeah. As you're going through the woods, you notice that there is hidden, I wouldn't say hidden amongst the trees, but the trees cover it a little bit. You see that there is the start of some ruins up ahead. Aged pillars that rise up into a semicircular building that has mostly been overgrown by moss and vines, that is completely destroyed, really. So excuse me, that was a weird burp that didn't want to finish. It appears to be mostly collapsed, but it had to have at once been a very large building. And as you approach it, the tracks lead here. You notice, however, that on the ground in front of the quote-unquote moss-covered entrance to this building, there is a bloodied knife on the ground and the signs of another scuffle.
It's at this point in time that Lysel is going to make a kind of round gesture, and you see some of the colorations underneath their skin kind of move up towards their face, and their lower set of eyes kind of glow with this almost kind of a greenish look, matching the color of the coloration that went up their body. Has anybody died here within the last 28 hours, I think you said it was?
Yes, someone has. What is the range of that again? Was it 30 feet?
30 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, you do your flourish to use your ability, and yeah, within the last 24 hours, someone has definitely died in this area.
Oh no. It looks like we may have been too late to prevent another attack. Someone's died here.
Well, if we can't prevent it, then we can at least avenge it. As we're outside this ruin, can I think Xander's going to take a knee, and his eyes are going to light up with just a bright golden light for a moment. Do I sense any elemental entities nearby?
You do not. What is the range on that? Sorry.
You didn't give me a range, you just said it was a thing I can do.
Oh yeah, it would probably be also 30 feet, that's what you're doing. No, nothing of an elemental nature nearby, no.
Okay.
No elemental creatures of any kind. Sorry, add that in, that would be a range of 30 feet. I apologize.
No
I know.
problem.
Can I go check out that bloody knife on the ground?
Yeah.
Let's go over, pick it up. Does it look like this was I guess also like looking at blood spatters on the ground? Does it look like this was a weapon that was used in self-defense? As in the person that was killed used this? Or does it seem like this was a murder weapon?
It definitely looks like it was, used in like some sort of defensive combat, as if someone was defending themselves.
Okay. Do I see signs of the creature around here? Like in the vicinity around this area?
Make me another survival check real quick one time.
I will do that as well. So I'm right there with Vivian.
Yeah, go for it.
Ooh, 25 with a natural 20.
Ooh!
Yeah, a 19.
Those are both really good. So, Lysel, with your natural 20, because you get a little bit of extra information for this, you see the tracks leading into the structure itself. Excuse me. You also see... Sorry, I keep burping. This happens to me so much. My body's not used to me talking this much. Okay. You see a little bit of the blood spatters as well, and you also find something kind of peculiar. You find a broken, at first it just looks like a vine amongst the rubble, but you find what looks like a very, very large necklace. Because at first it just looks like a branch, but then you find the medallion end of it and you kind of lift it up, and it looks like a necklace that's meant to be wrapped around a creature that's neck is definitely bigger than yours, and it's broken.
Oh, Vivian, come check this out. I think this might be some kind of... Oh man, it's a bit on the larger side, but maybe some form of necklace. And Lysel's gonna try to lift up the vine in question if that's something they could feasibly do. I don't know how large it is.
Yeah, you kind of gotta, like, wrestle it free from some other, like, roots and stuff growing out of the pavement on the ground, but you can wriggle it free, and it's a very nice necklace, again, despite the fact that it's much too big. Like, it is about as long as Vivian is tall. Looks like it's made out of vines, but there's a broken jeweled medallion on it. That's like a kind of brass color with a blue cracked gem. Slightly covered in blood.
Can I take a quick gander at that?
Yeah. Is there anything specific you want to look for when gazing at it, or?
So it was a pendant on a. Said it was a brass pendant, but I'm sorry, it was what kind of gem that was inlaid in it?
I just said a blue gem.
Okay.
Can I use like Nathan Field to see what kind of gem it is?
Yeah, absolutely. Make me. I don't know what type of check that typically is.
For what?
Nathan Field.
Wisdom based in tools check, maybe?
Yeah, I'll allow that.
Uh, 14.
Looking at it, it appears to be topaz, like blue topaz.
Got some nice blue pads.
Because I do not currently have detect magic prepared, I cannot ritual cast it. So I will take it and toss it over to, I'll say, Mr. O'Near's Phage.
Yeah, Johnny seems to be watching you intensely, and as you look over to him, he is already ritual casting detect magic.
Great, I'm gonna just set it in front of you.
While Johnny is ritual casting, Xander is going to kind of point his right hand out, and the signet ring begins to glow for a second. I'm going to summon Anodyne.
Excuse me. Yeah, and your little fox friend appears next to you.
Xander is going to take a knee in front of her and just say, Anodyne, dear, can you do me a favor and check out, at least do a cursory glance into these ruins? Quietly now.
And she scuffles off into it. Have Anodyne make me a, for one, a stealth check, and for two, I'll say perception.
Okay, stealth is 19. What's the lighting in there like?
It's well lit. There's sunlight while it's filtering through the trees coming down into the ruin, as it does not have a roof. So
Fantastic. So perception's going to be 14.
yeah, and do you look for her through her senses, or do you just wait for her to come back?
I think I would look through her senses. So Xander is going to kind of walk over to Emiko and take a knee beside her and say, I'm not going to be able to see or hear for a moment. Shake me if something happens.
Emiko, like, nods and, like, moves a little bit closer and make sure she's, like, keeping an eye out around them.
Yeah, and as Xander starts seeing through Anodyne's senses, everybody sees a bunch of sand come out of Xander's eyes and hair and form into a fox mask on his face.
Yeah, so as Anodyne, like, peers into the ruin, you see it's actually quite large in size on the inside. And even goes down in some areas, but the blood trail leads into this much larger, much more destroyed area of the ruin. And she actually sees a dead body deeper inside by about 20 feet away from a large wall that has like a very, very thick, dense overgrowth of vines on it, where it looks like it's collapsed. Some parts have collapsed in a certain way where making it to the other side would be increasingly difficult without some sort of aid or magic or, you know, some tools to get past.
Anodyne climb the wall. She has a climb speed.
Yeah, she could climb the wall. It's about 15 feet high.
Sick. Yeah, she has a climb speed of 30 feet, so she's gonna scamper up the wall and kind of perch atop. And are you talking about the wall that's like right here?
The wall. Oh shit! I forgot to lock this in place. It would be. I put her. I made like a little token, so she'd be on this side. So it's like this wall.
Okay. I think I'm gonna have her climb up. And basically, I'm just gonna have her, like, travel the perimeter of this wall from atop and just see if she sees anything.
She does, and I'm about to place it on the, map. I'm just quickly doing a thing. Okay. I gotta get out of my reference images and go back into my thing. Let me see. Okay, so... Okay, no, so she doesn't. Yeah. When she climbs over, she sees this, I have to make her a little smaller. This large creature, seemingly laying over a nest. So you see this. This large creature with, orange and black scales. It's kind of like a dulled orange scales with, like, black along the top of the head and along the back and a lot of parts of the face. There is another corpse, laying mangled not far away from the nest. These appeared to be just random adventurers that had, poor luck. But she has glowing amber eyes, and she is awake and stalking around. But it seems that Anodyne was just sneaky enough, since to see her, she only got a 17, and her stealth was 19. But the dinosaur is laying on, like, well, not laying down, she's standing near a large nest made out of, like, branches and bones.
Interesting. Yeah, as soon as Anodyne sees this, she's going to carefully climb back down the wall and run out, tails between the legs. And Xander's basically, can we say that, like, Xander was, like, saying out loud what he was seeing through her senses?
Yeah.
Alright, sick. But yeah, that's all from me. I return to my own senses.
Yeah, Anodyne comes running back, tail between the legs, scampering out of the ruins. Sorry, I was eating a thing of Chex Mix.
Hell yeah.
I'm guessing that's when the detect magic goes off?
Yes, actually. The necklace, appears to be, magical. Basically, it was a very minor protective enchantment. The wearer would have had a +1 to their AC.
Damn.
Any other properties?
No. It was very minor. Very small. It was just a +1 to AC for the wearer.
Attunement requirement?
It did have an attunement requirement, yes.
Okay. Who wants it?
I believe is it still functional?
Yeah. It's, it doesn't look as pretty anymore. But it is still functional.
I mean, shoot, how would any of us wear it? Isn't it like a little too big?
Yeah,
Is
you
it-
can wrap it
Wear
around
like a
yourself like a
choker?
belt.
Is it like the whole thing, or is it just the gemstone that's magical?
The enchantment is kind of narrowed down to just the medallion part of it. The necklace just carries it.
Oh, can I do a thing here? First of all, I just out of game. I think we should give it to him.
I would go over Lysel.
What's your AC currently?
Let me check. 15.
Lysel then, because mine's 17.
Alright, sick. So
I would rather give it to Amiko in that case, because an AC increase from 17 to 18 is more valuable than one from 15 to 16.
Lysel is also usually 10 feet back.
that's also true.
True, that is true.
Yeah, so I think Xander is going to very carefully take the very large, oversized necklace and kind of, because I assume it's already the whatever was being used as like, you know, the actual necklace part of it, pretty damaged at this point. And you said there's like vines around here, so I think he's going to just grab a handful of like, you know, dead like vine material. Casting Druidcraft to grow out some of the seeds for it to make like a vine-shaped like loop, essentially. Putting it through the medallion, and he's going to very gingerly place it like over Emiko. Be like, you should hang on to that.
Emiko looks a little bit surprised, but in her ears perk up a little bit. Oh, thank you.
Now, I will say that creature looks formidable and big enough to eat us all for breakfast. So, what's the plan?
Mm.
I mean, if it's capable of talking, one might reason that it has, room to reason.
Xander kind of frowns a moment and shakes his head and says, given the fact that there's already dead adventurers inside, I'd say that's maybe not the best option.
Was the ruins intact, like with a form of ceiling? We could try collapsing it onto it.
No, it's very prominently had sunlight streaking through it. I think what's already fallen of the ceiling is what's going to fall. Right, Chess? I'm not crazy. You did say that, right? Like that the ceiling had already collapsed in?
Yeah. And where it's hanging out is where, like, the ceiling is already gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, the top part of this area, of this building, has been gone. It looks like a very long time. But on the inside, there was newer collapses. that blocked a clear path into the area that Anodyne was trying to get into. But the ceiling has been collapsed probably for decades, if not centuries. This ruin is very old.
The entire ceiling, or just most of the ceiling?
Most of the ceiling. In the area, more specifically in the area that the creature is in. There's some parts of it that are intact, like in hallways and stuff.
So we could sneak up and attack it from the ceiling, aiming down into the open room below?
That's a really good idea.
Until it attacks the walls and causes them to crumble up from underneath us.
I mean, that's at least 2 attacks that's going up against the walls and not us.
That's also true.
I also have the absolute faith that our glorious paladin would love nothing more than to jump down from the ceiling and jump on this thing's back.
Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah, so I feel like that's a pretty decent distraction if we have him trying to ride on its back. It's also only large size, right?
Yes, it is large size.
I mean, that sounds grappleable to me. Just someone big and strong.
I think we could go into toe-to-toe with it.
But every advantage that we can have against this thing is probably good. We could also use maybe an illusion spell to help with the surprise.
I think if the 3 of us, myself, Xander, and Johnny, sneak up to the top, I have passed that trace so I can get us there pretty reliably. And then the idea of negotiating isn't maybe a bad one as a cover, because we're going to have Jay down there. And Jay is a very charming fellow. So if the 3 of you could distract, or if you at the very least could distract it, that would mean that the others would get a drop on it while you are talking with it.
That doesn't seem like a bad idea.
I'll back him up. No sense in going in there by yourself. You're more likely to get just gobbled up like a little treat. But if there's 2 of us, I might hesitate.
I think the thing that Mistress Deshays was suggesting is that you 2 follow Sir Elwood in the shadows.
Well, I also have a thought. Maybe it's just this picture of it. Does it have like real little arms?
They are slightly more useful than a T-Rex's arms, but it does have smaller arms. Theropods...
Would you say that...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I thought you were done.
Theropods are not known for really using their arms for much, other than like slightly grabbing at things.
Would you say that Emiko is a small-sized creature?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Emiko, you're coming with the 3 of us. You're going to jump onto this thing's back and punch it on the back of the head, and it will not reliably be able to grab at you with its little shitty arms. And if you do that, you're eliminating its ability to hit you with its tail or its mouth if you're like on the back of its neck.
Do we have a way for me to stay on? Could I like drop down with a rope and try to like whoop it over its head to like strangle it?
Yeah, that would be a grappling check, yeah.
Oh, I'm not very good at those.
Is there a way that we can, if we use technology?
Don't worry about it. I am very good at grappling checks.
Right, but if we use like a lasso or something that, like she said, can go over its head as she jumps down onto the back of its neck, would that be a way that she could like get some kind of boost to any because a grapple check is going to be her athletics versus this thing's, and that's not going to go well for anyone.
You raise an interesting point. I have a block in tackle. Is there any way, if we manage to get a rope around this creature's neck, that we could like string it up using the block and tackle?
It would be very, very difficult because this thing is very, very heavy, but you can certainly try. It's large size. Yeah.
It's large. You can use a net as well.
Well, I don't have a net, but I do have...
Druidcraft, make a net.
You know what? Fair.
Jas, is that a thing I can do?
Make a net with Druidcraft?
Yeah?
I'd say so.
Great. So, hey, revising the plan. Emiko, we're going to throw a net onto it, and then you're going to jump onto the back of its neck.
Okay.
And then, meanwhile, we
Sort
have
of,
Jay. Go ahead.
What sort of tools would you say would be required to make a net?
I'd imagine weavers. That's a thing, right? Weavers tools. Am I making that up?
Yes. Got it. Thank you.
Is that a thing you have?
Nope.
Oh, bummer. So is it a shitty net?
I mean, you could make a pretty alright net with Druidcraft, I'd say.
I don't know what that means in game terms, but I don't care enough to find out, so we'll figure it out as we get closer, I guess. So yeah, I make an alright shitty net using Druidcraft. We have Jay that's going to walk in, turn on the old charm. Really only need to distract it for like maybe 6 seconds, so we can just like be in the best position before we drop in on it. And then Lysel's gonna come rushing in right after everything kicks off.
So some of you are going in to talk to it, and then some of you are going in from up above?
Correct.
Alright, so who, for the sake of my placement, is going in to talk to it?
Me, J. Elwood.
And then Lysel, if possible, will be in some form of a hiding spot within 30 feet of it. Or at least move into position as Jay talks to it.
Yeah, you can hide behind this wall. Like, this wall right here is 15 feet tall.
But is it within 30 feet of it?
Within 30 feet of it? If you're on this side, maybe? 5, 10, 15, 25, 30. Yeah, if you're on the sidewall over here, you can be within
Would I be able to
30
get
feet.
in through that, whatever that vine thing is?
This vine thing, if you burnt it or cut it, sure. Like, they're obstructing the way, but they're not necessarily, you know, unbreakable. They're just vines that have gathered up over many, many years that have died and regrown and died and regrown, so...
So
How's Jay gonna get inside then? Like, as far as, like, which path is he gonna take to get inside? Like, would it be... do you see my hand? Would it be reasonable to, like, right here? Is there a way to get there without being spotted?
If you were sneaky about it, I'd say so. Or if you climbed over this way, since it can't really see over here.
I mean, you did say that we're using Pass Without Trace, right?
yeah, but I'm not going to be near you. Do you want to just come with us and jump down?
Is it Pass Without Trace that casts once and then it's for duration, or does it have to be around you?
You have to remain within 30 feet of me.
Oh, okay. I don't know, this thing's pretty perceptive. I think I'll just wait on the outside and make my way in once it goes down. Maybe be like stealthily working at the vines when he starts talking.
Yeah, so I'm going to place all of you that are jumping down, like...
There's only one jumping down.
Oh, there's only one jumping down, but all of you that are going above, like, right here, and you'll just understand that you are up above, and then I'm gonna draw a line from where, like, the roof stops curving into where it, like, broke inwards.
And how high up is this?
This would be about 40 feet in the air, but the creature...
40.
Yeah.
Oh.
You'd be able to jump on it, though. The creature would break your fall.
Good luck, Emiko.
A monk especially. So. Alright.
Fucking do it.
So, Jay, you're going in to try to talk to the creature? By the time you're in here, she's, like, kind of pacing around, has taken a few bites out of this poor motherfucker right here, and is kind of talking to herself, and you do hear her talking, kind of muttering to herself, like, hungry, bored and hungry.
So, I need a refresher on the plan here, guys. Am I talking and then jumping in? Or are we just gonna jump in? Like, what's going on here?
If I think the plan was that you were going to distract her, and it was up to you how you wanted to do that.
That sounds fucking perfect. All right. So, J. Elwood, Sir J. Elwood, stands atop, what are these, a bunch of fucking vines?
Yep.
He's gonna walk, or rather climb up, and he's gonna say,
Well, howdy, old chum. How can I help you this fine day? This glorious day? Seems you're bored and hungry. Perhaps I can alleviate that. Not the hungry part, unfortunately, just the boredom piece.
Yeah, she, like, snaps her head towards you, growling. And, she, was kind of, like, leaning down and toying with the corpse, but she, like, kicks it away with her back foot.
Oh, come now. Didn't they teach you not to play with your food?
And she says, You are not my master. How did you get to this place?
Well, I'm not your master, but I can be. Any other questions?
She, like, growls and, like, faces you head on. Her, eyes are glowing a piercing amber. And, while you can't tell directly what it is, like, she's radiating a magical energy. She peers, towards you. And she will say, If you are not friend of my master, I shall make you into another meal.
That doesn't sound very appealing at all. Any other solutions here that can benefit both of us, perhaps?
DM, would you say that this dinosaur is well good and distracted?
Oh yeah, she is like slowly like making her way towards Jay right now.
All right. Well, yeah, she goes to open her mouth for another retort, and then there is a shadow over her head, and she looks up just in time as a net falls on her big dumb face. And we're kicking this off.
Yeah, I would like Lottie-Dottie everybody to roll me initiative.
Oh my god, I didn't roll shit initiative.
So proud of you.
And put them in.
Actually, I rolled quite well.
Oh no, I rolled real bad.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Also,
Get
goddammit,
wrecked.
it's happening again.
Oh my god.
Son of a bitch.
It's fucking real.
Oh, I accidentally put in my cells.
So back, let's go.
That's a 13 and 18. A 4. A 3. And a 15. All right. Starting up immediately. So sorry. Lysel, you are first. To no one's surprise.
Would you say that Lysel was able to make any progress with the vines obstructing their path to get in there to make an attack while
absolutely.
they were talking?
Yeah, absolutely. By the time the dinosaur is distracted, you have made it, like, I would say about, like, right here. I didn't make you make a check for it because it's literally cutting vines, which you have a, a cool thing called a bill hook with the blade on it, and it's vines.
Yeah. So, after Lysol's made it through the vines and sees the net fall on top of this thing's face, you see them flourish their billhook, and this kind of surge of the light patterns on their arms going down into the billhook itself channel into it. And they almost seem magically propelled forward as I cast, Zephyr Strike.
Yeah.
And then it moves forward the remaining however much feet it takes to get them within 10 feet of this thing. To hit, I get a natural 20
Oh my god!
for a total of 44 damage.
Yeah, damn.
Shit.
Yeah, you fucking slam into this thing, and it roars out and struggling against the net. That fucking hurt though. Ow. Ow, oof, my dinosaur's bones.
So yeah, you guys see like this kind of pulse of that general coloration come out from the end of the billhook and come out the other side of this thing, before fading back into the weapon.
Yeah.
That is
ow.
going to be it for Lysol's turn, though.
It is now the dinosaur's turn.
Dinosaur.
Was it not surprised?
Oh yeah, you're right. It is not the dinosaur's turn. The dinosaur is growling and snarling at y'all, and she's not happy.
Huzzah.
Sorry. I remembered that, but I just was going through my app and was like, yeah, order. Okay, that means after the Allosaurus's turn, since she is surprised, Johnny, it is your turn. You are 40 feet up in the air, and I have drawn a little indicator of like where the edges of the ceiling are.
Oh no, Mickey.
Bonus action. Wake up. Going to cast Fairy Fire on this guy in his face.
Alright, and
Please have him make me a dexterity saving throw.
he's not good at those.
I would like to clarify, I did use a soul point to buff up the damage from that.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, I figured too. Even for level 3 Reaper. But crit with the extra die, fair.
It is worth noting, if the net is effective, it is currently restrained.
Which gives it disadvantage?
Has disadvantage on dexterity saving throws.
Yeah, so that's, the second die was better, so that is a, crisp 5.
So, Johnny thinks for a moment, and then his shoulders begin to heave, and he goes, and he seems like he's trying to work something up out of his esophagus, and he spits out this gem. In it, there are these 3 lights, blue, green, and violet, and he brings his hand back as if he intrinsically understands how to use this item, and tosses it at the T-Rex. And it bounces off, and it dissipates into nothing. He blinks a couple of times, dumbfounded, and thinks intensely, and glances over to one of his other party members. Refining his strategy now, he reaches up and down into his own esophagus, and he grasps something, and he pulls, and he rips something out, and a small black figure comes darting out of his gullet to Xander. Xander reaches up, almost instinctually, to grab the object, and he sees it appears to be a bat. But as he turns it over in his hand, he now sees this light-filled gem. And he recalls this. He actually saw it in a dream. The knowledge of this item fully and retroactively revealed to him He condenses it down, crushing the gem, and then launches it out at the dinosaur. The lights are refracted by the gem fragments and create this cube of light that illuminates and outlines the T-Rex. And the attack roll against him will have advantage, and it cannot benefit from being invisible.
Excellent. Anything else for your turn, Johnny?
That is all.
All right, Xander, it is your turn.
Yeah, so Xander is going to kind of walk more towards the edge here. Creature is restrained, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. He's going to raise up his hand as the signet ring glows, and he snaps his fingers as pieces of the collapsed ruined ceiling seem to coalesce together into a giant spike that flies towards the restrained Rex. That's cocked with advantage. That is a 25 to hit.
That absolutely hits.
And that is going to deal a not so impressive 7 points of force damage. Sorry, it's 5 force damage, 2 bludgeoning, if it matters.
All right. Anything else for your turn?
Nothing else for now.
All right. Emiko, it is your turn.
Yeah.
Emiko's gonna jump down on the T-Rex motherfucker looking thing. And
It's an Allosaurus, if you were wondering.
okay. And she's gonna make an attack as she jumps down on top of it. Does a 15 hit?
A 15 just hits.
Okay, and then I'm gonna use a key point to add my heartening hands onto it. I do bludgeoning and narcotic. Do I have to separate either one of those?
You do not.
Okay, so for my attack, it takes 13 points of damage.
Sweet.
And then for my bonus action, I'm gonna flurry of blows. An 18 and 19 to hit, and it's gonna be another 10 damage in total.
Damn.
And then she's just gonna grab onto the thing. The net.
You're holding on for dear life as this thing thrashes and roars underneath you. Anything else for your turn, Emiko?
No, that's it.
Vivian, it is your turn.
All right. Things seem to be going well so far. So Vivian, it's only session 2, but she's going to rely on Old Faithful. She begins to glow. Bright light begins to swirl around her as there is a cosmos that begins to swirl. Her eyes light up. She lifts about 6 inches off the ground for a moment. And then beside her, because of the conversation we were having earlier about dinosaurs and dragons, there is a large starry form of a dragon beside her, seeming to flap in place beside her, which then opens up its mouth and breathes out a torrent of stars, which will hit with a lot. Do you need any sort of damage separation here? Doing radiant mostly?
I do not know.
Sweet. So it's going to take a total of 6 points of radiant damage from the dragon. She is then going to stick out her hand and cast Guiding Bolt. And hit with a lot. Guiding Bolt is a spell I currently have pulled up, so I know that it does a total of this amount of damage, which shall be 4d6 radiant damage.
46, not 3.
I love the speaking slowly until Minnow could look it up.
I already knew it. It was 15 radiant damage on top of that.
Yeah,
and she's gonna go 10 feet back.
All right. Anything else for your turn?
That is it.
Jay, it is your turn.
I heard a guiding bolt hit.
I mean, you already have advantage if you hit it. Because of the require.
Wait, because of the what? Hold on, what?
Fairy
There's
fire.
Fairy Fire and Restrained and Guiding Bolt.
Oh, true, yeah. I forgot about the fairy fire was like the first thing that happened. Okay, true enough. The good Sir Elwood, standing on top of his perch, sees all of this going on, and he does not want to feel left out. So he is going to leap from atop his position on the vines, and he's going to take out the great sword that he received from the Skinari, and he's going to do a diving stab into the back of this dinosaur. Does a 15 hit?
That just hits.
Dealing 14 points of damage as he sorry, that's not me. As he flies down on top of the dinosaur, the greatsword gets stuck inside of the back, and he drags it all the way down, letting go on the way down. He falls to the floor, lands on both of his feet. Shield is out. He draws his sword, and he says,
Let's go, you oversized reptile!
Yeah, as you do, this thing starts bleeding profusely. This creature is very badly hurt. As it roars and thrashes underneath the net and underneath the weight of both Emiko and yours blows. Anything else for your turn, Sir J. Elwood?
As a bonus action, I'm going to cast Shield of Faith on myself, bringing my AC up to a 20.
But AC up. Alright. Top of the round, Lysel, it is your turn.
So now with their allies within close range, Lysel is going to again flourish their billhook. You see kind of this strange and yet pale yellow glowing coming off of their eyes at this point as one of the umbral colorations moves up and takes hold of their eyes. The end of their billhook ignites in flames as I cast Searing Smite.
Oh!
Nice.
And we got a 21 to hit.
That
We're also going to put
hits.
another soul point into it. I need to re-roll that. I had Great Weapon Master. Nice. Not Great Weapon Master, but the fighting style.
Yeah, great weapon fighter. I know what you meant.
That is going to be... that is going to be 29 points of damage. And then at the start of its next turn, on each of its turns until the spell ends, it has to make a Constitution saving throw, and it'll take fire damage on a fail. On a success, the spell will end.
Owie. This poor Allosaurus is very close to death. You see it, like, panting underneath the net. That is ridiculous. Anything else for your turn, Lysel? Not you were ridiculous.
No, that was a bonus action and action. I don't see any reason to use a movement action, so we're just going to sit right here and wait for it to make its move.
Alright. Yeah, at the start of its turn, it is bleeding profusely and can't, you see as it is stuck in one place. It is going to...
Make the con save?
Make the con save. Sorry, I was reading another thing.
Oh, you're good.
That is a 17.
That will succeed, so the flames that are starting to engulf it quickly die down.
Yeah, like, it's shaking its body very angrily, and as it does, you see this red energy start to form in its mouth, and its amber eyes glow very fiercely. And it opens its mouth, or attempts to, as I am distracting by adding extra words to this sentence to find my dice that I can't fucking find for some reason, that are normally everywhere.
No.
There we go.
If the DM loses their dice for 15 minutes, you legally win Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, I didn't lose it for that long. But you see these beams of energy pour out from its mouth, and they are going to this dinosaur. Yes, is casting magic missile at Lysel at 2nd level.
Oh shit!
That's 4 missiles going straight to your dome. How do you feel?
I have a question for the DM, actually.
What is the question?
Would magic missile satisfy the condition for soul siphon?
It's not
Soul
an
Siphon-
attack.
Soul Siphon specifies that it has to be an attack roll, yeah?
It says when it takes damage from an attack.
Yes,
Yeah, magic missile
magic
isn't an
missile wouldn't
attack.
count.
If
Okay,
it were-
so as the dinosaur goes to cast this magic missile, Lysel flourishes their billhook in a circular fashion and casts shield.
yeah,
That'll work.
yeah, you see the darts of magical energy. What does your shield look like, Lysel?
So as the billhook twirls, the various souls that are moving underneath their skin kind of pour out, and it makes this kind of a light pattern coloration as it flourishes around, like almost a multicolored swirl circle in front of them, propelling each of the various magic missiles in in various directions, striking anything but their intended target. It's actually quite pretty to look at.
Yeah, the fucking bolts slam into your shield, all dispersing, adding to the array of colors on it as the attack does not make purchase. And the creature starts to roar and thrash. That will be... Sorry, my app is loading. The end of its turn. Johnny, it is your turn.
Going to... How much HP does this thing have? Do we know?
It is very, very, very badly injured.
Okay. I cast Magic Missile at 2nd level, dealing 16 damage to it.
No, you.
Yeah. Funny enough, the creature et tu brutes and a shield that looks like a sorry, my brain fucking just poofed. It looks like a bunch of vines coil up around its body, vines that are native to Farwood, as the darts, similarly to Lysel's, smack into it and become new sprouting leaves along its skin.
Got it. That is the end of my turn.
Creature is fucking sweating, except it's a dinosaur, so it can't sweat. Xander, it is your turn.
Crying.
Yeah.
Um,
Cold-blooded creatures, such inferior life forms.
so it definitely looks like hella hurt right now, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we know it has magical capability.
Yep, it just cast shield.
It did just cast shield.
Its AC is 20 until the end of turn.
Fuck it. We're gonna try an Eldritch Blast. We'll see what happens. I still have advantage, so maybe I hit this. Okay, that one's not so great. Okay, dude. So I got a natural 4 and a natural 20. So I think what happens here is, after it does the shield thing, Xander says, "Hey, ugly!" And the dinosaur, like, looks up, and Xander's, like, with his hand up in the air as, like, a collection of, like, 30 to 40, like, pieces of caved-in ceiling just floating in front of him, says, "You said you're hungry, right? Here's something to eat." and then the rocks just slam into the thing's face. All right, that's good. That's good. That's very good. For 24 points of damage.
Xander, tell me how this awakened Allosaurus dies.
Yeah, the rocks, as they fall, coalesce into a fist, very much so resembles that of his mother's, and just punches the creature in the face so hard that it breaks its neck.
Yeah, the creature... Oh, shit. falls to the ground, under the weight of the magical blasts, and the vines seem to die and fade away as the shield dissipates, and the creature is slain. Great job, guys.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I love when a plan comes together.
All right. So once it lies dead, Vivian looks over the side, and Gale like does a double take, like looking down at the dinosaur, looking up at Xander, back at the dinosaur, back to Xander, and then just sort of like shakes her head on Viv's shoulder. And Viv will scramble down the side and climb down to the dinosaur's body.
Yeah.
Hey, if this thing was an awakened creature, does that mean it has a soul to reap?
Yes. You actually see this glowing essence travel from the creature's body and slide up your weapon, and then a soft amber color starts to dance under your skin for a brief moment before fading.
You know, I'm suddenly remembering why, during the creation of the Reaper class, Jas and I decided not to have souls be restored upon killing things. Because we were like, yeah, you could just go over to an anthill and kill a bunch of ants, and nope, now I have my soul back. But anyway, Xander's gonna climb down, like, rush over to Emiko, and just, like, once again, you know, being the hype man, is like, how many times did you even hit that thing? It looked like you hit it, like, 70 times in, like, 6 seconds. That was crazy.
Very Australian from Xander right now.
I'm bad at accents, sorry.
Boy, crikey, how many times you hit that, mate?
Well, that buckaroo had no idea what was coming to him, did he?
Yeah, his dad was very Australian, and his mother is very, like, pop English, so...
Sometimes it just comes out, you know? You can't really help it.
Well, as we all know, accents are genetic.
Yep, absolutely. There definitely aren't a bunch of British children that grew up in America because they watched Peppa Pig.
Okay,
That's real shit, by the way.
I'm just saying, he did live with his dad for like 6 years.
I get it. Great. So we've made it down to the bottom. This creature is dead. Any other sign of any other bad bitches nearby?
Out of the shadows, there comes a fully fledged T-Rex.
Oh no!
I mean, they did say this was a nest, so.
Well,
Oh, also said that
having a master.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Go ahead. Make me a survival check, real quick, Vivian.
Sure.
Help. Vantage help.
Hey, thanks.
That works too. I was gonna offer to roll with you, but that works too.
That'll make it a 24.
Yeah, so you look around the area. It seems like this nest was newly made and this creature was settling down here. But you do find something on the corpse. It was wearing basically a bracelet around one of its little hands. A very well-made bracelet that kind of has like a locket. It looks like it would be a locket for a normal person, a bracelet for this creature. And basically it has a name inside of it that says, Sugar. And then...
This thing's name was Sugar?
Yeah, and on the other side of the
Right.
locket, it says Mama V's. And so Mama V's Sugar.
All right, everybody. We're looking for a 50-plus waitress from a southern diner.
True.
But as you look at this creature, it doesn't look very wild. Very aggressive, maybe. But, you'll notice that on its, with the necklace outside, this little bracelet, that isn't magical in any way, but as a sort of, like, tag, but you notice that the scales on its body are very, very clean. Its teeth are very, very clean, and shiny. With the survival check, I'll also say that you managed to take its teeth out of its head and, skinning it and all that, and I'll give you all that in a second.
Wait, I just want to clarify. You said its teeth are very clean, but it was just biting into a corpse when we walked in.
Well, they're covered in blood, but I mean, a lot of animals, their teeth are yellowed and stuff like that.
I thought there was some fuckery going on. I'm sorry.
No.
House, what is your standard of hygiene that covered in blood is synonymous with cleanliness for you?
They were
No
saying
pack?
that the teeth are not stained; they are otherwise in very good condition, as if they had been cleaned very well.
Joey, I didn't ask you.
Shut up. No, but that is the exact point. This, I guess what I mean to say is this thing looks like it's been pampered and taken care of. It does not appear wild. Covered in
It's
blood,
okay,
yes.
I speak DM.
But otherwise well maintained. Despite the fact that it was, eating and has a little bit of blood on its maw, from the corpses it's been eating, its teeth look like they have at some point been professionally cleaned. And its
Okay,
claws are basically manicured.
Two things. Does the name Mama V's mean anything to me?
Make me a history check.
Sure.
Guidance.
Guidance.
That'd be a natural 1. For a total of 7 with guidance.
Nothing really comes to you. It doesn't help that there are a few witches that refer to themselves as Madame V, because V, when you shorten your name to a letter,
Right.
like, you can think of maybe 7 people, but that 7 people doesn't narrow it down very much.
we got some Madame V's, we got some Mama C's. It's, fucking...
I mean,
there's only
if you really
so many
think about it,
honorifics.
you could be Madame V.
I could be Mama V.
Yeah.
Shit, she looks down and she says, "You've revealed my master plan."
But
Great. Also, the second thing, anything going on with this adventurer body?
You find a few things on their person. They have a completely destroyed set of armor that's not really salvageable, but you find an envelope, a coin purse with 2 gold pieces in it, and a necklace. I have to open up my shit real quick. I'm so sorry.
And give you -1 to AC when you wear it.
Oh no!
No wonder she died.
Just canceling out her own buff. What the hell?
Oh no, the necklace was very obviously for the Allosaurus. It was like a collar. Oh my god, let me into my shit.
No, fuck you.
This app has been running very slow today. There we go. There we go. You find an amulet of... You find an amulet that has a like weird symbol made out of like 3 kind of squiggly lines that are all connected at like the very edge to give the illusion that they're separate, but they're really not. You can tell it's magical as it has this kind of blue glimmering sheen to it.
And I toss it over to the big guy. And assume that he will start identifying it. The biggest guy, which is
The biggest.
no, biggest
6'8".
vertically.
Yeah, he's 6'8". I'm 7 foot.
In your armor, it doesn't count.
Shut up.
I could put on fucking 5 foot stilts and be like, "Hey, look at me, I'm the big guy." That
You
doesn't
are the
mean
big guy
anything.
because you're wearing
Nope.
stilts.
Johnny needs a pearl to identify this. 100 GP pearl.
We'll get you one.
And then there were 2 corpses. The one over here had a, like, 3 daggers.
100 GP pearl.
No. 3 daggers. They also had a set of thieves' tools and another envelope.
Are any of us proficient with thieves' tools?
I
Yes.
believe Johnny is. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Great. Let's pop these envelopes open.
Yeah.
So,
Xander's gonna take out his trusty royal letter opener.
these letters were
I
wax
get it.
sealed. The seal has obviously been broken so that they can read them. But both of them are pretty much the same things, just with 2 different names attached to it. And one of them was Amber, which was the armored elf over here. And the other one was just labeled, sorry, my fucking app closed. Can you stop? One of them was just labeled T, as if shortening down a longer name. And it was from the Adventurers Guild within Skymount to find, quote-unquote, an awakened Allosaurus that was created by a witch that had been causing problems in the smaller residences outside of Skymount, but was chased off. And basically these 2 were tasked with finding it and killing it.
Great. Can I cut off the dinosaur's head?
Make
And
me
we
sur-
got its teeth and its skin.
You guys did get its teeth and skin. Speaking of which, you get 20 pristine Allosaurus teeth and 3 units of hide.
Can I cut off its head?
Make me a survival check.
I would like to help with that. Or make it myself if that would be better.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Xander takes out like a dagger, looks at the dinosaur, looks at the dagger, looks at the dinosaur, looks at Lysel, looks at the billhook. Lysel, would you do me a favor and take this creature's head?
Oh, well, yeah, of course. And then you kind of watch as the amber swirl that had been flowing up their arm kind of finally makes it to their face, and this almost kind of amber glow comes from their eyes for a second. You could almost swear that you hear like their stomach rumbling for a second as they look down at the body before they shake their head, their eyes going back to their normal color, and use the billhook to wedge in between the spots of its spine and its neck to try and pop that part off before actually cutting it off. I got a 23 for, 24 for survival.
Yeah, you managed to very cleanly cut this creature's head off.
Thank you ever so much, Lysel. Now, if you could do me one more favor and hold this. Xander takes off the signet ring and gives it to Lysel.
Lysel just kind of stares at it in the palm of their bony hand for a second, then back up to Xander. What? Okay.
Xander picks up the head and then gives Lysel like an impish grin and a wink as both he and the head discorporate into sand and then fly into the gem on the signet ring.
Oh. Xander?
He's dead, Jim.
And Xander's just going to, stick the head off to the side within the extra dimensional space within, Lysel, give me a perception check, actually.
I'm perceptive. Not very perceptive, though. That's a total of 7.
Yeah, you know, the gem on the ring is a bit dusty. You can't really tell, like, what's going on with it. But you definitely saw him go into it, and then a few moments later, you see the gem glow for a second, a stream of sand comes out, and Xander reappears, not holding the head anymore, and he holds out his hand and says, "Thank you. Now, you would please."
Yeah, of course. And Lysel's just gonna deposit it into the center of his hand.
Yep, and he's gonna put the ring back on.
That's a neat trick.
Indeed. Maybe sometime I'll show you what it looks like inside.
They just stare at Xander, almost a little dumbfounded.
So, DM, is there anything else going on in these ruins, or is this our cue to fuck off?
Make me a perception check, Xander.
6.
Can I help with that, or also make that check?
You can make the check.
With help, that's 18.
You look around, and these ruins are rather large. You know, there's probably more to explore, but in terms of dealing with this particular problem, you believe that there would be nothing else related to it here.
Xander is going to look at Mistress Deshay, who, so far he's kind of like started to view as like the de facto leader of this little merry band of misfits. And say, Vivian, are we staying and having a closer look around, or... I don't know if we're in a hurry to leave or not.
How long will that head keep in your ring?
About as long as a head would normally, I suppose.
Well, then I suppose we have some time. Let's take a look around if we're already here. Save us the trip back.
Yeah, and I think, with you all deciding to explore further into these random ruins, I believe I will end session there.
No, I want to keep playing.
And it's 10 minutes till.